PokeAim MD is a name intertwined with competitive Pokemon itself. Not only is PokeAim a veteran of the game with a competitive history spanning over a decade, he was a pioneer of showcasing the deeper side of Pokemon here on YouTube, with perhaps the longest running competitive Pokemon YouTube channel on the whole website. PokeAim has exposed the world of competitive singles and battle simulators to a much wider audience over the years, and has laid the groundwork for most Pokemon Showdown YouTubers to come, myself included. Almost every Pokemon Showdown player out there is a fan of PokeAim in some form. I am honored to have Joey PokeAim on the Fridge podcast today, and how are you?
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I don't know about everybody being a fan, but I'm sure people may have heard my name here and there, but I'm absolutely excited to be here. I'm a big fan of your content. I started on YouTube with Generation 4, so having somebody that talks about, obviously it's advanced for you for the most part, but you talk about all generations, so having people like you and BKC talk about older generations really means a lot to an old head like me. So it's great to be here, man.
Yeah, I like Gen 4 too. I played it back in the day a little bit and made some Gen 4 stuff recently. I made a video about Empoleon, how it's risen over the years, and
It's my second favorite lead next to Metagross. Sash Metagross, in my opinion, is perfect as a lead in DVP, but Empoleon comes a nice second if you can hit your Hydro Pumps.
I do like the leads that can hold their own against like the Azelfs and stuff.
Exactly. The metagame has changed enough to the point where you don't need a Lumberry from a champ or anything like that, or a Rose Raid or anything. Like, just forget an Aquaberry too. Melt those Specs Heatrans with your own Earthquake. So it's great.
Well, I'd love to talk about Gen 4 you a bit more later, but first question I have for you is the origin of your username, PokeAim MD. I really like it as a catchy name. Probably helps with your branding to have something that's easy to say out. Like, what is the origin of it, and what is with the MD part? Is that like you're a Pokemon professor or something? Is that kind of the vibe?
So that's kind of how I've adapted it over the years. So when I started my channel, I was 16, like just recently 16 in high school, and the way we used to talk to people was through AOL Instant Messenger or AIM, which is, the email we also used to use before, like Gmail and all that stuff, or if maybe use Ymail back then as well. So I went to Cerebi.net one night to the IRC chat because I was looking for some Wi-Fi battles in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and Platinum as well. And someone by the name of MD Exterior, well, they had like the brackets over the MD because they were from a clan that I'd soon learn from Mass Destruction, hit me up. We battled. I won. And they said, hey, you want to join my clan? I'm a kid who loves Pokemon. I said, yeah, I do. Yeah. So they invited me to their IRC chat, which would, like I said, would be known as Mass Destruction. I put Pokemon in front of the AIM because Poke and AIM were two things I was kind of like the most familiar with, right? Poke comes from Pokemon, AIM comes from AOL Instant Messenger. I also liked the nickname AIM as itself. I still think it's a really clean name. Like, that's AIM. Like, I love short nicknames. There's nothing wrong with Jimothy Cool, but if you were known as Cool, I think it'd be fire as well. Just straight up cool. Like, that'd be fire. So like, PokeAim kind of came from that. I went to this clan, and I actually in clans you're supposed to put the brackets and then your name in the front. So it should be MD PokeAim. But for some reason on the laptop I was using, I could not put the MD in the front. So I asked them if I could put it in the back. They said, yeah. And that's where PokeAim MD originated from. And I kind of just kept it going. They would call me AIM as well. So I nicknamed my own self AIM. And eventually Joey is my nickname. My real government name is Joel, but I've been called Joey ever since I've been growing up. And everybody would call me Joey, and I kind of stuck with the whole AIM thing from there. But I've obviously adapted it throughout the years to be like the medical doctor of Pokemon. It kind of does help with my branding as well, because people do call me the doc. So things like that just sort of happen. I was actually studying to be an RN at a point. I was also studying to be an anesthesiologist at a point, but I kind of fell off from those. So I could have actually been PokeAim MD, if it was, if it happened that way. But I'm just PokeAim MD on YouTube now.
That's an insane origin. I would never have made the connection with AOL Instant Messenger AIM. I just thought it was like a catchy random word that you chucked in. Literal AIM.
No. Most people know that when it comes to me and like shooters, I'm not very good at aiming. So it's definitely not anything.
That was one idea I had. Maybe you played FPS.
Oh, I Pokemon. Did. But good? No. I'm blind. So I'm not very good at that sort of thing.
I'm also trash at those. That's why I play a game that doesn't require any execution.
Oh, for sure. Or thinking or anything. Just click, 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 click. Love competitive Pokemon. There's a lot of thinking involved, guys. I'm messing around.
Our couple of MD is a damn clan from back in that. There was so many of those like homebrew clans back then.
Were you around during that time? Like, because I know obviously you have a love for old gens. Were you on any of the IRC chats back in the day, or was it more Zat, or was it more?
I wasn't really involved in the community at that time. I played Pokemon online. I guess I talked in the chat on there, but that was about it. I never really got into the forums or the any of the chats back then.
Yeah, Pokemon Online came after Shoddy Battle. Shoddy Battle is where kind of all the clans were really happening. And then, yeah, obviously, PO also has a lot of clans as well. Like, there's a lot of clans on PO. That's how I met people like Blunder and CTC, and the list goes on and on. But, yeah, initially, it would be before that when it started.
I remember having clans for other games. It was just a thing in every game back then. Like, in TF2, I think I was in a TF2 clan that, like, my friend just made up or something back in, like, 2007.
It's always fun, especially when you have like people that, you know, obviously love your interest, and it gives you a little community, it gives you people to talk to. You know, I would like come home from like track practice and go do clan battles and stuff, and it was so cool because I had my friends IRL and I had my friends online, so it was just a nice, you know, it was nice to be able to not necessarily have to have all my hobbies with the people. Like, not everybody online had to like everything I did, though I was lucky because a lot of my friends do enjoy Pokemon. We used to battle during high school as well, so
that's like a cool part of internet culture that doesn't really exist anymore in the same way anyway. Like,
yeah, Discord makes things a lot easier, I would say, and also just like chats too. There's probably no Zat chats anymore. I don't know if people are still using IRC as well to communicate. Now kind of the cultures are like subcultures of like my Discord or yours. It's a subculture of my viewers where they all come together, but they didn't all come together because, well, maybe I guess because they all liked Pokemon, but it was like the common factor would be like they knew me, or rather they know me. But yeah, it's definitely a little different now than it was back then, for better or worse.
Easier and more accessible to find communities these days. Like back then, I literally didn't even know where to find people who played Pokemon. Like I wouldn't have known how to find these IRC chats and
100%.
So.
Cerebi.net was very lucky for me to even find. I didn't even know it existed for a long time. I found it because Diamond and Pearl leaks were coming out, and I literally found Cerebi, and I remember downloading the entire Pokedex for Diamond and Pearl in the Japanese names and memorizing them just because I was so interested in things like that back then. I loved the knowledge behind Pokemon. So it was even though now it's kind of like reverse, less about the lore and less about things for me, more about the how can I use this Pokemon to my advantage type of thing. But yeah, definitely changed a little bit as I got older. I do love that everything's more accessible. And it's also part of the reason why I love your content, because you make something unique, niche, or even just cool to me, and cool to a lot of people that like Pokemon, just more easily understandable, and just having the access to it, I think is really sick.
Yeah, that's what I strive to do, make it accessible to the average player, like be informative.
No, you definitely influenced people like you and Frieza actually influenced me making shorts, because I'm like, this is nice. This is a really good way to give people. How can I make that 60 seconds or less type of thing? So I definitely have a lot of influence from both of you, which I think is very important when it comes to YouTube, right? You shouldn't be stuck in your ways and, figure out how to adapt.
Yeah, you should look at what other people are doing and
exactly
take inspiration from everywhere.
Exactly. I'm so sorry that we strayed so far from origin of name.
That's all right, Doris. Speaking of like Gen 4 and when the hype surrounding that, back when that was first coming out, I think like you're one of the earliest people who was posting Gen 4 Wi-Fi battles on YouTube. And there were a few people doing it back then, but you did it a lot. You go back on your channel, you have so many Wi-Fi battles.
Yeah, I do. And I mean, I was a smaller channel back then, but I had a lot of friends, I guess you could say, that were also posting, like Shofu and MBZ and Xenon, and some of them are still friends to this day with me. But yeah, the community was a lot smaller. You had 1,000 subs. You were basically king at that point. I didn't have like anywhere near that at that point. But yeah, Generation 4, I think Generation 4 was perfect when it came to Wi-Fi. Like, the only reason we stopped playing Generation 4 is because Generation 5 came out. I would go as far as say as Generation 5 on Wi-Fi was also perfect. Though, of course, we expanded more into Pokemon Online, and that content was a little bit easier to digest than, like, let's say Shoddy Battle, the simulator. Before Pokemon Online, couldn't really upload that because it wasn't really, like, it didn't look good. And Pokemon Online, kind of similar, but it looked better. So that's where PO Lives kind of started. So I think Gen 4 and Gen 5 specifically were perfect when it came to Wi-Fi. And that's why you see a lot of people that did Wi-Fi battles. We never got bored of them. Like, we only stopped because the next generation came out. So I care a lot about where I started, and I try to remember that. One thing I used to do in the description of my videos was, it would not be a description of the video. It would just be me mashing my keyboard to put random letters, and that'll be my description. And to this day, on the bottom of my description, I have random letters as well to kind of like remind me where I came from. Like the bottom of my every video I have has
description, still in there.
ASG enjoy, because that's literally what I used to put in my description of all my videos back then.
That's cool. That's a cool little Easter egg.
Yeah, it's just for me. And shoot, at this point, it's already just there. I'm not even copy pasting; it's just always there. But yeah, those were amazing. I really loved it.
I've spoken with BKC about the Wi-Fi battle era of like Gen 4 and 5, and it's interesting to learn about because there wasn't a ranked system. You kind of just playing for fun. And there was like this honor system where if you used like Skarmory or something, people thought you were lame. Or like
shout out to MTG Xerxes.
People would be like, yeah, let's play OU, no Skarm, no Bliss, or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that's more, I would say that's closer to more Diamond and Pearl and Platinum, but that kind of changed as Heart Gold, Soul Silver, like with Heart Gold, Soul Silver, which was like, you know, obviously DBP and Platinum, like both of them back and forth. But I forgot, Platinum came after or before HG. I think it came after, I'm not sure. But basically, that was more with the earlier Diamond and Pearl. As Platinum came out and stuff, and we played on that, or we played on Heart Gold, Soul Silver, that kind of changed, because at this point, we were just like, yeah, we're going to use whatever the hell we want. There was a lot of pride, though. I will say that if you lost to a YouTuber who was posting it, you better like be ready for what's coming after, because winning meant a lot back then. Like, your pride was on the line. Speaking of BKC, he disconnected on me so many times back in Generation 4. I remember we were in finals of a tournament. It was Pimp Night's tournament, and he disconnected versus me because I stayed in with my Jellicent on his Thunderous 4 turns in a row and 1v1'd it. He was trying to HP ice my maybe Landorus in the back every turn and like focus blast my Ferrothorn. So I ended up basically winning that game. And he disconnected, and we ended up doing like some triple battle to make up for it. Kevin was a funny guy back then. He definitely, again, it was all about pride. Like, if them Wi-Fi battles got posted, you got roasted. That's basically what happened right back then. Even I couldn't even battle in my house because I didn't have any Wi-Fi connection. So I would have to, like directly in my house. So I had to like stand up on my mirror and put my DS all the way to the sky to take the Linksys from across the street. When I battled Kevin, I would like walk 5 blocks away from my house, and I would just put my DS in the sky because there was this other place like 5 blocks down that had open Wi-Fi. Like, I didn't have Wi-Fi specifically that worked. Changed my life when I finally got that. I was able to go on the computer without praying that the people across the street weren't on.
That brings me back. I remember searching for Wi-Fi. I didn't have it either. Any like cafe or whatever that had it, or I had a friend who had Wi-Fi. I would love to go over there. I played like Tetris DS Wi-Fi battles. What a world. That's crazy though. You stayed 4 times in a row as Jellicent against Thunderous Therian. That's gaming.
So
that's nuts.
I'm definitely was more of an aggro player. It's hard to say I was a more aggro player back then than I am now, because I still definitely make aggro moves. It just feels a little bit less to me because I've been uploading for 14 years. So I'm less hype about it unless it's something that I find exciting. But like, yeah, I knew they'd do that. Let me do that. Like, I play it off now. But back then when you're having a post-com, or you could say whatever you want, right? I could misclick my close combat Terrakion on a Gengar, and they end up switching out into Ferrothorn and predicting Star Stone Edge. Yeah. And exactly. And everybody did that. So that's why people would be like, oh man, you're so aggro back there. You don't do that no more. Like, nah, fam, some of that stuff was just a lie for everybody. And that's why I absolutely despise post-com now as I grew older. And I think it's fun for tournaments though. And I think I definitely think, and I do sometimes for my tournaments as well. And I definitely think that, you know, there is this level of concentration you get, but I also love the mix of live con because I love to know exactly what you're thinking. Even if there's ums and stuff in between, I want to know the mind of the competitive player. But it was a different war zone back then for sure. Like, it wasn't as easy to get into as it is now, and that's one of the best changes ever, right? That like Showdown itself and just how accessible things are and content as well. Wasn't as many big people around. doing all different types of content. It was just a small, secluded, like I would say the niche people were people doing Nuzlocks, right, and stuff like. And whereas now it's like you got VGC singles, challenges, just lore videos, competitive data videos, and however you would categorize basically between that with you and Freeze Eye, and also you have False Swipe with the like the lore, the history of things as well. So like there's a lot more now, and I love that as well, because I think the more the community grows, the better it is for everybody in it. Everybody. Never will I hate on someone else's girlfriend. Like, yo, that's sick. That person just got people into competitive Pokemon. How can we make them? Or that person just got somebody into. You just got somebody into DVP. Now, how can I make them like current Generation 9 OU? Oh, Jimmy Jimmy the Cool already just did the job. He posted the Belly Bowl team that hit rank 1. Nice. That's going to trickle down to mine. Let's go.
That's definitely one of the biggest things, is like, I feel like now every niche community has like popular YouTubers within every little subset. But back in the day, it was YouTube itself was niche. I feel, you know, there were no phones or accessible devices to use YouTube on. It was all on a computer. Not everybody uses a like computer for leisure. So yeah, back in like 2009 or whenever this was, even early 2010s.
Yeah, that's really true. I in order for me to actually get online back then too, I had to use my mom's computers, and I definitely broke a lot of them as well. Like I wouldn't even be able to access all this stuff without my people like my mom and dad letting me, or sometimes not letting me, and I just take it when they're sleeping. Use their stuff going forward. It's just wild, like the change now, right? Like you can just play Pokemon Showdown on your phone. Everybody has phones too. I mean, maybe that's just my age showing at this point. But in high school, I didn't get a phone until after, and I had a Boost Mobile. Like, where you at? Where you at? It's all like different now. Everybody got iPhones, Androids, etc., and everything's just way more accessible.
Obvious statement, but smartphones definitely changed the world and made the internet accessible to like billions more people or whatever. So
100%, and I am definitely thankful, even if we're all glued to them. I am thankful.
It's, you know, it's good and bad. It's a Pandora's box or whatever. Like, good thing is, like, we can now turn YouTube into a legitimate career because there's so many eyes on it, and it's this universal
never
thing.
Would have expected that back then at all. I mean, there was also a time where I was gonna quit, and the only reason when I was in college studying to be, I was back and forth between RN and anesthesiologist, but studying to be those, and the only reason I'm still doing this is because of people like Umfuga, Wally SSB, who gave me his 3DS when X and Y was coming out. And my subscribers back then who raised $300 for me so I could get a capture card. Because capture cards as well, that's another thing. That stuff was expensive, and there was only 2 people that had them. You have Loopy's, which is the better capture card, and you had Katsu Kitty, and both of them were extremely expensive. That's the reason why most people, like from back then, don't exist anymore. And a lot of people blew up in X and Y. Whoever had the money, whoever made the sacrifice to get it, exploded because of it. People like Shady Penguin, and that basically just all changed.
That's
it all.
interesting.
So it's
yeah,
wild. Yeah, all the way everything changed. Technology, dude. It just.
I think 3DS capture cards are still rare to this day.
Yeah. People use them for people all use them for their. I mean, obviously there's emulators, but people do use them for like what they're doing, just like legitimately as well. I know people like RNG manipulation and do like that. They're using like capture cards for it too. I still got mine as well. I got 2 right back there. Just it's crazy to even think that I had 2 when 1 I got literally because my subscribers donated to have it. Like I literally quit as I was going into college and for 2 weeks, and I came back, and that was 2013. So it's wild. I
mean, back then it was literally just a hobby for you to post to YouTube. Never any career prospects in it. It's just for the love of the game.
Oh, for sure. I was getting paid though. I was getting paid. Since 2011, I got partnered with Machinima. Terrible. They had some good content, but terrible. I was on a 60-40 split. Nice and taken advantage of. It was amazing. It actually took me very many years to get out of that Machinima contract. To obviously now, because there wasn't a way to monetize your content back then without having, what are they called again?
I remember those, like MMA. What are they called?
Well, yeah, I'm forgetting the name, right? I'm
like
blanking on the
Polaris
name.
and them.
Yeah, exactly. But you couldn't basically monetize your gaming content without them. Nowadays, you make a channel, you get monetized, right? 1,000 subs, you have your watch hours, and you can get paid. no matter what you're uploading, which is amazing. Like I said, again,
Mm-hmm.
like the way it's advanced from there, we needed, they're not RPMs, they are whatever. We needed those people back then in order to do that. And obviously some of them were, I think most of them are predatory.
I think they're called MCNs. Isn't that what it is?
MCNs, thank you.
I don't
Wow,
even know what it
go
stands
crazy
for,
with that.
but yeah, MCN.
Yeah, whatever. It stands for
Those
they're
guys.
trying to take your money. Some of them are good. But like I remember even Machinima, when I finally was able to get out of the contract, it took years of fighting. They wanted me to end up staying because I was doing better, and they said they'd even up for me 100% of my money, which is like really funny because I'm here thinking, yo, we had such a terrible split this whole time, and you guys were fighting me. Like, if you really wanted me for this, you would have given me this before I was leaving, type of thing. But yeah, and then like you have places that give you 90 10s, 95 5s, but I believe you should, there are some people that can't get monetized because of their country, and obviously MCNs can help them, and hopefully you can get the best deals you can get. And if they give you signing bonuses and things like that, that's amazing. But I do believe you should for sure have your own content that makes your own profit for you, right? You shouldn't have to give it out to somebody else who's giving you this promise of deals and stuff and better ads and never falls through, for sure. Like, again, I think it's just predatory behavior from a lot of them. It's like a lot of them have died out, and I'm okay with it. Like, it's like
the business model doesn't make sense anymore, right? 'Cause it's easier to get monetized. Yeah. It's always scary to lock into any kind of contracts as well. You never know.
Especially as a kid, I couldn't sign my original. My mom had to sign it, and dad. And like to them, they're like, okay, you're just doing YouTube as a hobby. So, if we could read it back now, I'd send, hey, no, why are you getting 40%? Give me 90, 10 at least, type of thing. So that's just wild. It's amazing how times have changed. I'm very happy for it.
And speaking of the Gen 6 capture card stuff, I feel like, just looking back at your channel, the Gen 6 Wi-Fi battles were when that you saw a pretty significant spike in views, I think.
Yep. 100%. It's when I was able to quit my part-time job and start kind of doing this as a means of
that's when it happened. Cool.
Yeah, as a means of making money. I was uploading Wi-Fi battles. One of the first Wi-Fi battles I did that did amazing was where I basically brought Scopeland's Kingdra with Focus Energy to the world. Like, that was the first ever, like, it being showed off. I remember. I made that on PO. Cool. I showed it off. There's a few other sets I did that, like Tank Zardex as well. I made that with my boy Hugo, who won like an OST and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of things we did back then. Wi-Fi was, everybody was booming at that point. Like, X and Y brought so many new people, and again, I will never not be thankful for my community back then, from Fuga, Wally, for the people that basically helped me be able to do what I wanted to do, because I was just doing this while I was uploading still, while before I went, like, I don't want to say full time with this because I was always in school, but like before I took this as like my part-time job at that point, I was working, I would go to college, I had a girlfriend and things like that, and I still had a social life, and I was still coming home and like recording a video 3 o'clock in the morning and then getting it ready and stuff like that. Like, it took a lot. And actually, I think when Oras came out is when I started doing daily uploads, and I don't think I've stopped since then. Like Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, or it was when I did my Enter Mega series. I don't remember if that was Oras or if that was X and Y, because the years kind of start to blend a bit when it comes to that same generation. But I definitely I was joining every tournament too back then as well, and I definitely it was those games that gave me the ability to do what I'm doing today, and I'm definitely thankful.
Yeah, I was around when Gen 6 came out. I do remember a spike in interest around competitive Pokemon, even around my friends. Like, the hype of a new game is the first 3D Pokemon on the 3DS. It was this hype event, and people were figuring out that competitive Pokemon existed for the first time. And you were there to capitalize on the interest, and then of course you're one of the few people with a capture card. It makes sense. It's like everything's lining up.
Yep. I just kept doing what I was doing too. That's just it. Just kept doing what I was doing. Didn't really even change.
There was a bump when X and Y came out, and then when Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire came out, I noticed another one. Like, some of those videos had like 100,000 views, which especially back then, that's crazy.
No, it's insane. I mean, shoot, it's insane now too, right? Like, 100,000 people watching a video. Like, it's a little like there's always timing involved. I would argue luck, but not really too, because like good titles, good thumbnails and stuff. I didn't have that back then, so it was definitely luck back then. but all that stuff definitely matters. The content, edited stuff too. Again, I didn't do that back then, and I do edit intros now, but
YouTube
still,
has changed
I'm
a lot
still,
in that area recently.
yeah.
In recent years, I feel like back then, thumbnails and stuff were not optimized in the same way they are now. Like,
Oh, for sure, for sure.
as long as you were
People-
just showing up and uploading consistently, I feel like that was the most important thing back then.
Yep.
It wasn't like creating the best title thumbnail combination like it is now.
Oh, for sure. And that's exactly what I did. I just never left. I just kept uploading and doing what I enjoyed. And it ended up working out. But yeah, some of those videos are wild. Some of them are some of my favorite videos of all time too. Like I got some PO lives I absolutely love. Like some Wi-Fi battles is like, wow, man, I really enjoyed this. I kind of also wish I did some live com things back then too. Like I was very happy when I got into draft specifically because of that, because it was such a good thing. It was so fun. It was a different way of Pokemon. Of somebody who's been doing it for so many years.
Draft is super fun, yeah.
Yeah. You play?
I've played the Gen 3 draft tournaments a couple times. It's cool. Like,
Ooh, are they all higher tier? Or are you doing lower tiers? Or I mean, if you're Gen 3, right? I guess obviously you have your A tiers or your high tiers, which would be like T-Tar and things like that, Zapdos.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe the format's different in other gens, but it's like every Pokemon has a point value, and you have a certain amount of points to make a team.
Yep.
So like T-Tar and I think T-Tar's the most expensive. T-Tar, Raikou, and like Suicune are like the best.
Makes sense.
And they're like with 13 points, and then there's the other top tiers like Skarm.
So what's the like? What would you say is the bottom? Like, is it actually the babies, or is it more like the
there's stuff like Magnemite, like these, the little guys. And some of them are actually kind of useful because like Magnemite has Magnet Pull, so you feel like a 2 or 1 point guy that can randomly help you in a matchup.
Yeah, chop a Skarmory, and then you fail to 2 KO it, and when you fail to OHKO it, it gets up 2 layers.
There was this funny thing because in the first one, Duskull was worth 1 point, but people realized it's actually really good for 1 point because it's like Ghost with Levitate, Will-O-Wisp, it can block Rapid Spin.
Yeah.
So it's like they had to make it more expensive in the next one, which is pretty funny.
Yo, it absolutely be like that. That's so cool. I love drafts so much. I like it more on Wi-Fi because it kind of like keeps me with my roots, Like I love Wi-Fi battling. It's just a lot harder for 6v6 singles. For 6v6 singles specifically. I'm very happy with what they do for VGC. I am not like, that's just not my thing though. I play through the game in singles and I've done singles the whole time, so I enjoy playing. I will play the occasional VGC when I'm, forced to or invited to, as we did in the Star tournament. But I'm a singles guy at heart, and the fact that the timer basically changed a lot of what that was. And I don't know if they actually listened to my pleading and everybody's pleading for years, but we finally got an update. When we got that update for Scarlet and Violet, oh my god, it changed everything. Like I went full force into draft, and I'm happy that like allows me to kind of recapture why I even started uploading in the first place. And it means a lot to me to be able to play draft because basically my Wi-Fi battles.
Yeah, it's an awesome way to play. You mentioned VGC. You've actually on your channel dabbled in VGC a little bit over the years. Like I didn't realize you did a little series with Wolfe actually.
Yeah,
collabed with him.
Yeah, I was actually helping Wolfe a lot with his channel back then, along with somebody else, and we were doing a lot of collabs back and forth. And I'm so happy for him too as well. He's huge now, but he's like, I consider him, when he was doing mainly just competitive, he considers me the Wolfie of singles, but I always considered him like the me of doubles. But he's like me if I was like Super Saiyan 4 or like something, or blue or something. He's like enlightened type of thing. But yeah, I've definitely dabbled in VGC. I even have a VGC channel I made that I never did anything on. I never promoted it either. I just have to really get that calling. I can't do things just for the sake of I want to grow. I have to love what I do. I've always said this, but if I ever fall out of love with Pokemon, it doesn't matter how many subs I have. It doesn't matter everything. I will walk away, right? I obviously say thank you for everything, but I will, like, because I have to do, I'm a firm believer in doing what you love and loving what you do. And I know not everybody can be in that situation, and I am very blessed to be able to be here. And that's also why I work very hard as well to keep it that way. That's why I do daily uploads too, because I love what I do and I never want to not do it. It has never once felt like a job for me in 14 years of uploading it. I don't know how many years now of daily uploading. It has not felt like a job. I love putting up a video every single day. I think it's so cool. And I don't even care. Like, I know that if I did super edited competitive stuff And I do want to do more of that in the future. That I know I could get like more views and things like that. But I also want to do what I want to do as well. And it's still been allowed me to, you know, help myself and help my family out and provide and stuff. So it's been cool to be able to do it. And if VGC ever falls into that, I'll do that too. That's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's an interesting balance, right? Because if you're a full-time YouTuber, it's risky. Your life revolves around getting views, but then you don't want to force yourself to do something you don't want to do, of course. Because then you're just going to be miserable making videos about something you don't care about at all.
Exactly.
I think it's a balance. That's kind of why I started making Gen 3 videos, because I lost interest in Gen 9 after a while. There was a point where the meta would get really stale to me. So I was like, why don't I just talk about something I actually like?
Oh, that's super fair. That's very fair. That's also part of the reason I think the only time I ever hate OU is when I do Road to Top 10, but that's also because I really, really, really care when I do those. Whereas if I'm just recording with my friends, yeah, we could be on high ladder, but I'm just having a good time and I want to show off a cool set. But when I really, really care, oh my God, specifically in Generation 7 when I'm forced to use Magma Storm Heatran and that Mon misses for the 10th time in a row, oh my gosh, it gets me heated.
The Tryhard Laddering can be so annoying, like so
it can.
Stressful.
And the thing is, I'll casually ladder to the top 10 all the time. I do it in lower tiers, I do it and stuff, and like alts I don't use and stuff like that. And I am bringing back Road Top 10. I just happen to always time it wrong with OLT, which is the worst time to do Road to Top 10 because every team is the same, and it's a bunch of, I don't mind good opponents. I think that's great, but I also don't like the fact that everybody sees my team every single game, so the next person already loads up a C team, because people do that. I did that when I was laddering in OLT as well, and I qualified. So people do that.
I actually don't like ladder tournaments for that reason. I remember I did a Gen 7 Ubers ladder tournament because I was really into that format, and I kept getting sniped. Like, what do you, like, people would look up your username and look at all your replays and see what your team is, and then just sometimes counter team you, or just they know what you're gonna do. They know all your surprises. Yeah. It's kind of annoying. Because what are you gonna do? Make like 5 new teams? It's kind of hard to make a good team because you have to practice on the ladder, and then people see your team on the ladder. It's literally
that, and that's the same thing. Same reason why when I do record Road Top 10, it's gonna be. I'm not going to do what I did before, which was I'm going to record it every other day so people can actually like know when I'm doing it and try and snipe me and do that. I'm going to record it all before I actually end up uploading it, just because it's a little easier on me as a person. And it'll also make it more enjoyable, because what I also want to do is this will be my first like edited version, like super edited version. I had one in the past, but this will be, that actually was like sponsored the entire thing, which was so sick. But this will be like my actual like edited intros for every single one, explain the teams, because I think that's like, obviously that's what YouTube is now, but I think it's a good way to also bridge my shorts viewers and my regular viewers. So competitive content is always like, everybody wants to watch that. Even if they don't think they want to watch that, they want to watch that. Once they understand, people be like, yo, I have no idea what he's talking about. Once they understand, that's the greatest thing, because it opens up a whole new world for people. So I'm gonna do my
I think that's something that you did very well early on in the days of like Showdown and PO, when that was a thing. Content was theming it around like a goal, you know, like the road to rank 1. I don't know if other people doing that, and it's a common thing people do in many games, but those series, like, I remember watching those. And, like, it's a story you get invested in. It's a journey.
And it's, I mean, it was inspired by my boy, It's Gator as well. Inspired by my boy It's Gator, who did Road to Top 10. He literally did a Road to Top 10 on Pokemon Online. He never did it after that. He did do one years later, but he definitely that's just an example of seeing someone do something, but like, yo, I want to do that because nobody's doing it now. And yeah, so if it wasn't for people like him, I wouldn't be doing like that stuff too. And I know people love that. I know I get a lot of subs. I know it gets a lot of views, but also I have to enjoy it. I really have to enjoy it while I'm doing it, because then after because I get greedy. I'll do a Road Top 10, and then I'll go for rank 1 after, and that's the worst thing in the world. When I actually, when I want to go for rank 1, and rank 1 takes a lot. It's luck and it's time as well in order to get that. I've been rank 1 in a few tiers, National Dex OU. I've been rank 1 in regular OU as well, back in 6th gen when I did it, and also I've been rank 2 as of recent in OU, but like rank 1 is just so hard. Especially if you played UU back then, when you know, the UU #1 guy was like 200 points above the #2. But RU and stuff like that, I played with that. But
some of those
I will do
guys
that
are
content.
insane. The people will get like
Yeah, like Storm Zone's wild, bro. Play like 14,000 games in like a week, and I'm like, yo, man, you're the GOAT, and you deserve your trophy and everything. You're wild though. And he'll build like 1 billion teams too, and it's definitely a commitment to be able to do that. But I will be doing themed content. That's also why I think draft does really well, because it's a story, right? I'm trying to win a championship. These are my 8 weeks, my 8 trials to get to the, almost the finish line, aka playoffs. And then am I gonna, step over that line? So that's why I really like draft too. And it's also why I do enjoy series like Megas to High Ladder or Blunder, what we're currently doing, because we've hit rank 1 multiple times when we do this sort of thing. So we're definitely gonna do it again, as well as a promise. So again, everything will be. I think it's a great thing, and I still love those are great for a story, but I also love one-off themed things like what you do, that tell a story specifically about. I think it's always important to tell a story, right? Those are some of the best videos, and yeah,
on YouTube, it's about having a consistent format and also like packaging it well, getting people to care about it, and storytelling is like the best way to do that, I think.
Storytelling and some solid editing, I think, helps as well. Some cool questions here as well and stuff.
Oh, yes.
Like, you're bringing me back towards like memory lane, looking at some of the Baton Fast makes me sad and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You're
I was
actually
about to ask that, because that's like, I was looking through your channel, and there's this one video called Baton Pass Makes Me Sad, and I watched it, and I'm like, is this like lost media almost? Not lost media, but is one of the only records of this happening, because that stuff is banned now, and that was back in Gen 6. Ubers, where it was you're up against this like this ridiculous team. It was like Drift Blim, Ninjask.
back in Gen 6, dude. They they don't like complex bans. Baton Pass went through like 17 iterations of bans.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can't have this. Oh, only this mon can have it. Oh, you can't pass speed boost. Oh, only 3 Pokemon can have it. And then people start smash passing and stuff. It's great with like Whimsicott and things like that. Like, it took so long for Baton Pass to be banned. I do wish dry passing was allowed. I do wish dry passing was allowed. But there were also ways of what's it called? There was also ways of like making use of that. Like Pyukumuku, for instance, in Generation 7 could use a Z move with Baton Pass or something, and actually would go around being able to not Baton Pass stats on Pokemon Showdown. I remember this specifically. And you could Baton Pass stats to your teammates. There was a lot of problems with BP. I'm happy it's banned, but I also love that in draft I could use it as a switch initiative, because everything got Baton Pass this generation. I don't know if you noticed, but everything got Baton Pass.
Well, we wouldn't know, it's banned, yeah.
Yeah. Like Latias got BP.
What the?
And like it has like a switch move, and there's so many mons that just learn Baton Pass just naturally. It's just wild.
Well, then dry pass might be a problem if everything could pivot. I don't know if I want that.
I mean,
oh, it's all right. It's not that broken. It's just like a literal dry pivot.
Oh, it's just annoying. It's just obviously annoying. I understand. And if people, that's my favorite comment from someone that doesn't know competitive Pokemon. There's just so much switching. Like, yeah, I mean, do you want me to stay in with my rock type versus their water type and die? And sometimes people do. And I was like, okay, cool. That's why I like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, because I was able to do Wi-Fi battles in less than 20 minutes, find them by using Pikachu, and just play. And like, it doesn't matter what my opponent did. I was live commenting. I was just having a good time. And it was quick. And I didn't have to worry about EVs or anything too. But yeah, Baton Pass makes me sad, man. That takes me back. I used to definitely just upload a bunch of different clips like that. And I'll still do it to this day if I have something cool, but I haven't had something like that happen in a long time.
That's a funny video, folks. You should check that one out. Because he starts off hopeful. He's like, yeah, I got a good matchup here. I can Trick Room. And it just slowly, like... And as long as I don't miss this V-Crit, and he, of course, misses the V-Crit, and then it just snowballs. The guy gets 1,000,000 minimizes, baton passes to everything, and gather all the boosts from every avenue of the world. It's... I also remember all those iterations of BP. Like, you can only have 3 BPers, and like the Espeon was breaking things back in OU. That was a crazy time. In Gen 3 though, we still want to preserve BP because that's the only pivot move.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine in Gen 3 as well. I like Baton Pass. I like it, period, and I like it with passing stats too. I don't think it's broken back then. I guess you could argue, because you guys don't have choice scarfs, that some mons can get a little bit, but also those base speed tiers are kind of consistent, right? You have Flygon, Salamence, Zapdos all around 100. You have Gengar minimizing its speed so it's slower than them if it really wants to be. I freaking hate advanced EV spreads, by the way. When I learned advanced from Danilo, aka Sir, I hated that I never knew if I was going to be faster than him on, except for if Sandstorm was out.
You just got to have the knowledge and get used to it, I guess. But it's tough to get used to, probably.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Especially Gengar has like 1,000 EV spreads. and speed benchmarks.
Oh no, it really does, dude. You have like one that has 96 speed EVs and be slower than defensive, what's it called? Defensive Celebi and stuff like that for running a bit of speed. It's just wild. Also, that Baton Pass thing was done in Ubers. I was running a full Ubers team, and my opponent had Ninjas plus Zekrom. It was a great time.
In Gen 3, there's so many complexities to Baton Pass. Right? It's you can only Baton Pass one stat at a time. And if you have like Baton Pass and 2 possible things that can get passed, that's banned. And you know there was game-breaking stuff with Smeagol where they banned specifically Baton Pass on Smeagol. And then Smeagol used assist and like Baton Pass on all the teammates to call Baton Pass so we could still Baton Pass through assist. And it was just like, there's always some way people find to break the game with Baton Pass.
If you don't straight up ban it, people are going to find a way. That's it.
It's in an alright place though right now in Gen 3. Like there's not as much big game-breaking stuff like Magic Bounce and everything, but I feel like it might get solved again. I don't know. Someone will figure something out.
I hope so. It's always really fun to watch literally that move break the game. It's literally that move.
I like, Swords Dance past Celebi teams and stuff though. I don't want that to go away. I feel like that's honest because you can play around that, but it's just when it's uninteractive and you're just dodging everything.
No. For sure. It was one of my favorite strats in Generation 6 as well. Swords Dance passing to Talonflame and Zardex. Like I really enjoyed doing those. I want BP back, man. I want to test it once. Now you got me wanting, like, I'm a big fan of minimal bans. I'll be completely honest. And some people don't like that, but I'm a big fan of, learning how to play around things. Like Terra, a lot of people want to insta ban in the beginning. Some people still want to ban now, but like I think that like it's way easier to play around now than what it was because things have stabilized. Things start to stabilize. Yeah, they could still become any random type, but there's also like, Gambit can obviously be flying or dark or whatever, or fairy, whatever, but like fire has kind of been phased out. That phase of King Gambit terrestrializing to a fire type is kind of phased out. So you won't really see it. So yeah, I mean, the Gambit could randomly Terra into an electric type and maybe mess me up, but like cool prep, like on their part. Like I don't know. I'm a fan of minimal bans and also allowing, but this also has to do with Pokemon too. But I'm also insane. Like I wanted Galarian Darmanitan retested because we had more Pokemon that could tank a hit at the time. Was that crazy? Yeah, sure. I'll admit it's crazy, but also I think it'd be fun to play with, and that for me, enjoyment matters a lot too. I think competitive integrity and enjoyment need to go hand in hand. I know that people ban stuff for tournaments. Like a lot of times when SPL comes out, Smogon will ban some things or suspect things because they want it to be banned for SPL because it'd be better for the tournament. And to that I say, well, why not just ban it for the tournament like we do anyway when we have tier changes and allow it on the ladder for a little bit if it's actually a problem, especially if it's close. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I've always been. Go with the flow and less about banning.
How do you feel about some of the more broken Gen 9 stuff like Chi-Yu or something? Some of the Pokemon are stupid, you must admit. Like
dude, I love when, I mean, in order to prove things are stupid, I'll also like challenge myself. Like look at Last Respects and Ubers. I got my Rex with only Basculin. I literally use Eviolite Basculin to get my Rex for an Ubers. And I think I went 30-1 or 30-2 or something like that.
Well, that proves that it's stupid. Yeah, Last Respect is one of the dumbest moves of all time. I can't believe that exists.
And Eviolite Basculin actually had because White Stripes actually had a niche because it could take like a Sun Boosted hit from Koraidon and agility up. It was actually easier to use that mon than Basculegion at some points because I could even tank like random hits from Miraidon. Like it was crazy with Terra.
You don't even need Rain Up then to use it.
Exactly. So it was just a lot. Like it was really cool to see like that things. And Chi-Yu for sure was broken. I was always like 60-40 with Chiempao. Like admittedly, I do think it should be banned, but I would also have been okay with it being here. I think Bax should be retested. But yeah, I don't know. We just banned Volcarona as well. So a lot of things. I felt like Bax during the Archaludon meta should have been tested just to see, since it was only one archetype that was best with Archaludon, whereas Bax is really good into that archetype and how they would have checked each other and how it would have gone. Like I'm okay with fighting fire with fire. I'm very excited though for the future. They're talking about Solgaleo, which is something I've preached a little while back, and I know some
it's cool that we have Zamazenta and Dark right now we can use. That's cool.
Oh, Zamazenta is broken as hell, and that mon should be banned. My stance is very firm on that. I believe they banned the wrong Zamazenta when they banned the other one. I think that mon, and while it is like something that's necessary, I just hate that's a mon that like, okay, I can come in and sweep you now. Whereas like at least Gambit, I gotta win 50-50s to try an end game. It's a crazy comeback mon, but like Zama's like, okay, yeah, that's a mon that come out, can't kill its defense boost type of thing. But it also has to do with how you play and stuff. But we have like so many offensive mons that kind of dictate how the end game's going to go. That even perfect play into losing to that mon is very, very common. I would be okay with that mon being banned personally, but that's like the only mon right now I'd be like, yeah, ban Zamazenta, shoot. But also give me back something else so I could try. Give and take.
I think they're more willing to retest stuff recently. They did retest Valkyrie. It did get banned again, but at least they retested it, you know.
Yeah.
Gliscor obviously was not a problem after a while, so they brought it back.
Yeah.
You could do it with Bax. Bax I'd be alright with retesting, for sure.
I really would have wanted Bax during the Air Showdown meta. Like, right now, I'm like, I don't know if it's it'd probably be too much, but like, I like the idea of like bringing in my Archaludon on Icicle Spear and getting +5 defense.
Oh, hell yeah, true.
Like things like that would just sound really fun to me. But again, doesn't matter. Don't take for people listening, don't take my word for like law. This is just for my personal thing. I'm a big fan of, I love having to outplay something unless I think something's like legitimately broken.
Well, I think the best metagames are centered around a few mons that are really powerful, but like can be answered reasonably at the same time.
Fair.
So centralization can be a good thing, but it's just when the central threat is like literally just click and crunch or whatever, like Chimpao, then it's kind of lame. Because you look at, you know, like the Gen 3 and 4 mons at the top, they've got a lot of set variety. They're more interesting. They lead to more interesting gameplay, I think. Whereas
no one would argue in Generation 3 that Tyranitar should be banned. You might argue Spike should be banned, which is an interesting thing. But I don't think people that are super highly competitive will argue in Generation 2 Snorlax should be banned. It's centralizing as hell, 100% usage, right? For the most part. But that doesn't mean it's any worse or that, like, I don't know. There's definitely mons that are different. You might be able to argue for Jirachi being banned in Generation 4. Personally, I don't want it banned, but I can understand why people do.
Yeah, there's an
And I'm just talking about things like I've seen threads like of these on Smogon. What I thought was hilarious was Cloyster's ban, because it took how many iterations of a banning or a thing where they had the one with gems and stuff where Cloyster was like literally one placement by Solwyn specifically away from being banned versus like gems not being banned, because he had like, there was like 3 things they made you vote on. Vote for gems, vote for Cloy, vote for Volcarona, I believe, in black and white. And because Solwyn put no ban for gems first, because that's the one he wanted, it ended up actually becoming the one that was banned. There's a lot of things that are there.
That one was really close.
Like I remember, and I remember like it was like 3-4 iterations for Cloyster back to back to back. Yeah, eventually it's gonna get banned. Yeah, like you got the King's Rock, and then you have Cloyster with gems and all that. It's just funny. There's a lot of fun things like that that actually take
Gen
place.
5 is a whole can of worms. I don't want to get into that. We'll be here for hours talking about that one. But
oh yeah, you're right. You're definitely right. Sorry, let's go on. I'm so sorry.
The multi-pronged votes are always interesting. Even the initial Terra one, there was like some options that who's going to vote for that. Like it kind of skews things sometimes when there's multiple things to vote for. But what was the Terra one? It was like ban Terra, one Pokemon can Terra, or like only stab Terra. Like the options were a bit weird back then.
They were really dumb. They were ban Terra or have Terra or do nothing. Terra team preview and only stab Terra. All of them, first off, I don't think Terra preview solves anything in singles specifically. I think it works for draft when you have a Terra captain, because right, you can single out the one that is going to terrasilize and you can see what it is. But in singles, I already know Landorus is going to terrasilize into a water type. I already know Gliscor is going to terrasilize into a water type. I already know Zamazenta, or like I already have these, like, you know, based on my experiences, I can see that these Pokemon are going to terrasilize in specific types, right?
Back then I wanted Terra preview, but I think as the metagame stabilized, you're right, like every Pokemon will have like 1 or 2 common Terra types, which that's enough to be able to reasonably like suss out what this team
exactly. And I feel like the argument that, oh, well, it will get rid of the 50-50s for Terra. I was like, no, it wouldn't. Now I'm always constantly thinking that this Pokemon in front of me is going to terrasilize into a Steel type every single time, instead of when I think it's actually fine in the battle. Like, there's just a lot. I don't know. I don't like Terra Preview for 66 singles. I like it for draft, even though I don't use it for draft. I do like it for draft because I've helped my friends mock and done it for that, and that does help. But yeah, I like Terra as is. And I think it's... I think there's a lot of skill involved in Generation 9, and you see a lot of consistent players. Obviously, you know, can Gambit, can Endgame. Yeah, that's for sure. It definitely can. But that's also the reason why Zama's good in the tier, because that mon can't really break through it without a lot of support. It needs its Terra. It needs Zamazenta to not have Terra, and it needs its Terra, and it needs also Zamazenta to not be Roar and stuff like that. Isn't it also cool how like Pokemon will adapt to themselves? A Zama wants to beat another Zama, so they started running Roar, so they don't have to worry about
Yeah.
the other boosts that have it. I always thought that the nuances in Pokemon are.
Happens a lot in Gen 3, like the Raw Suicune beat other Suicune.
Yep. How'd you feel about, I don't know if you were around, but like when Sleep Talk was revealed to be how it is in Generation 3?
I've always played with the changed one.
Oh,
I think maybe
okay.
way back in the day I played on PO, but I wouldn't have even really paid much attention to the intricacy of Sleep Talk.
Very
just
fair,
randomly
very
queue in
fair.
Gen 3 for fun back then.
Fair.
Yeah.
It's just always interesting to me to see like a huge mechanic change something. Like when the critical hit mechanic was found to be 4% instead of 6. I got so mad at all the tournament games I lost because of like to a literal critical hit like last turn. Like, oh, there was even less chance of things like that happening. It's just always cool to see how things end up changing. And I remember when we first found out that normal types can't be paralyzed by normal types, right? Like body slam. As in terms of body slam, like normal type can't paralyze Pokemon normal moves in Generation 1, and how much it changed. 'Cause I did tournaments back then as well for those.
I was around when they figured out in Gen 3 that knockoff doesn't actually technically remove your item. It just disables it. So then Thief can't, like if you get knocked off, you can't then Thief because you still technically have an item that's just disabled.
Yeah, you can't trick one as well in like Generation 4 because if you get knocked or something, like it's still technically there. It's interesting. It's really interesting. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that if you still look at your mon after, I remember getting knocked off and looking at my mon, it still has its little mail attached to it or where the hell it was. It's so cool to find little instances like that. I always look forward, but it always makes me mad when I was like, yo, I lost this tournament game to this Pokemon that shouldn't have been able to legally do that. In one of my first tournament games where I revealed Tankzard X, I knocked off Mega Venusaur's Venusaurite, and it couldn't Mega Evolve. Obviously, we had to replay, but it's just funny to think about like the way things worked back then.
Oh, really? You could knock off Mega Stones back then. That's funny.
Oh, it just wasn't It just wasn't implemented properly on Showdown.
Yeah.
So you could take advantage of those things in tournaments. Obviously, we did it a different way. We let him Mega Evolve and stuff like that. So
that's funny. Yeah, I was talking to Reverend recently, another Pokemon YouTuber. He said there was a recent discovery in Gen 1 that was so specific. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like, because of the way RNG worked on the Game Boy, like on the first turn of a Gen 1 game, it's impossible to get the 1 in 256 miss chance. Like every move will always hit. Like, how do you even discover that? That's crazy.
Yeah. It's wild. I think it's very similar to Fire Red as well. In the lab, you can't like miss or something specifically for that. It's just wild. Like I have no idea how people figure things out like that. Like the trial and error behind it. Because I wish Pokemon would just give us some patch notes. But obviously, Generation 1 is its own, mess of bugs and stuff. So,
yeah, I mean, but
it's a beautiful mess. It's a beautiful mess of bugs. So I love them.
Yeah, Gen 1's so cool.
It's a fire meta. I would love to post more around those.
Yeah, a lot of popular videos about Gen 1 because it's interesting. Most people have played it or are aware of it, so there's like some interest in it as well.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of cool stuff to talk about.
Yeah. That's why I like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, because it was just fun and easy to get people into it.
I remember the competitive meta for that being a bit short-lived. It was so simple. There was like no items.
I was on the council as well at the time. Yeah. It was a wild time. I'm looking at this stuff, by the way. I truly do apologize. Like I've listened to these as well. I'm like, yo, I've been here an hour and we're not on page 2. We're not done with page 2. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. No worries.
I'm so sorry.
There's a lot to talk about with PokeAim the Legend.
Yeah. Legend. All right.
He's a deep individual with a lot to say.
Yeah.
But
I just like clicking buttons, bro. It's always been
it's
like
a fake competitive game we play. We are simply selecting buttons. There's no nuance. Don't get it twisted, folks.
Yeah, somewhere, some way, BGC is earning in his sleep.
Don't tell him I said that.
You'll find it.
When I was skimming through your channel, I noticed randomly, sometimes you would make non-Pokemon videos here and there. Like, you have a playthrough of Zelda Twilight Princess that actually went for quite a while.
CBB, Crashing Boom Bang, yep.
The gamer. And, like, the Telltale games and the playthrough of Star Fox Zero, which was, like, the Wii U Star Fox.
And Duck Game, Call of Duty, all that stuff, yeah. There was a time where I was uploading sometimes twice or three times a day, all videos. Couldn't just be Showdown Live, so sometimes I just play with my friends and just record it, or I'd stream with my friends and put it there. I just liked bringing the content I was enjoying to my channel. As I've grown up a bit, I do still play games, but like between streaming and what I'm actually recording, it's kind of hard to put up certain things. I guess my subathon that I did recently, where I probably streamed like 250 plus hours at that point. I was able to relive some of those games with friends. Like I played Duck Game, I played COD, Zombies, and stuff like that. I really like, even if it didn't do great, they actually have like, or had like people that would, like the first episode would do how it would do, right? Either get a lot of likes or dislikes and people saying you suck or you're good or I enjoy this. But then as it starts to go on, it kind of like slows down, but you'll have the same consistent views on every single one because the same people want to see it. Something different, and it's a lot of fun. Duck Game is one of my favorite games in this entire world. And you're just simply a duck shooting another duck with a gun.
That was a
trying to
fun
beat
game.
them.
I remember when that came out.
It's so good. I absolutely love the Telltale games. I didn't even finish the latest Walking Dead because I only played them, Walking Dead specifically, and The Wolf Among Us, I only played with CBB, who is obviously a very respectable competitive player. And yeah, I've only played that with him, and I refuse to play it without him. But I enjoy the Telltale games a lot. The Telltale Batman, though, I played them by myself, which were very fun as well. I enjoy Telltale a lot. I like the story-driven, even if it's just like, it is literally a story-driven game where there's not much. Your change lets things happen, but you'll make it to the end most times anyway. I enjoy those games a lot. They're very easy to stream, and they're very fun to play.
But you just made those out of a desire to like do whatever you thought was fun in the moment. But I feel like
Yep.
yeah, YouTube kind of dissuades you from doing that. It wants you to stay within one niche. And
100%.
do you ever want to branch out to other things on YouTube and like maybe a second channel with like miscellaneous videos or exploring other interests, or you're all right with the Pokemon thing?
So I feel like streaming is good for that because I can start streaming Pokemon and then in the middle of it I can play whatever I want. I know there's a lot of people with a lot of different channels where they post a lot of different things, but PokeAim MD is my baby, right? And like I did, again, I made a VGC channel. There was a PokeAim Clips channel that my editor Pedro made. We ended up just doing things directly here because it was like, let's just benefit the main. That's to say though, if people did put up clips of me, that'd be cool. I wouldn't care. That'd be really funny. Maybe it could be run at some point, but I don't know. At the moment, if I play games with my friends, sometimes I don't even want to record. I just want to enjoy games with my friends because, how many people can say that, like, Pokemon has really kept me together with them? How many people can say they have like some of their friends from, X amount of years ago still in their circle and able to, be able to play games? Like I played COD Zombies the other day or the last month with Moet, like someone that I played COD Zombies with almost 10 years ago on the channel and in general. So it's just so cool. Like, shoot, I got VAC banned on Modern Warfare 2 with him. Well, he didn't get VAC banned.
Did you hack?
Yeah.
Classic.
Come on, man. I used Pokemon Showdown. I just wanted to get 70 prestige and play the game in 2016 without having to play through the entire campaign and do everything. It's not my fault. It is my fault, but how dare they ban me when they got lobbies like there that are literally hacked and letting me go into aimbot. I'm going all for this, but it's fine. I had another Steam account and I bought the game twice. Technically, probably bought the game like 4 times over my
I had
lifetime,
some friends who hacked in like Counter-Strike and TF2, but I never wanted to risk losing all my games, so I never did.
Oh
or,
yeah,
like,
dude,
it was from the servers.
No, I was what's it called? I was one of 4 people who did this hack to get the 70 prestige. I was the only person who went down for it.
No.
Still to this day, if you go to my Steam, it still says has 1 back ban, which don't expire, by the way. That's so dumb.
To this day.
Come on. Yeah.
It's been how long? Like 10 years?
I would say close to like 8 maybe, but it might be 9 actually.
8 years of time. It's time to free Pokemon.
But yeah, as opposed like if I play something with my friend and I really, really enjoyed it, we were doing a lot of different games back then because we were on the computer all the time, right? When you're a kid in high school or a kid in college, specifically college, you have a lot more time like to yourself. Right now, obviously, I'm married. I got a wife. I got 2 dogs. So, and like 2 different families now, right? Mine and hers. Hers is mine, but you know what I mean. And I got to go to and see things, and it's harder to sometimes find time to just chill and play that. And sometimes we just want to play Pokemon, which is the game that got us all together to begin with. But if I ever do play those games, I'll sure as hell upload. I don't care how it does. Like, as long as it's one of my 3 uploads or whatever, it's fine. Because I already know Pokemon's gonna do fine anyway. And maybe I'll even try a highly edited version of it with like a highly edited thumbnail and intro and see what happens.
So you still have like the same old school approach to your channel where you're not really afraid of like uploading whatever you feel like. That's cool.
Yeah, I will say I will definitely adapt. Like I started doing intros. The reason I started doing the edited intros on my stuff was because yes, I wanted it to be kind of connected to my shorts, but also because I was gonna upload a Fiona, and I was like, wow, nobody cares about this mon at all. How can I make this video do all right? So I asked my boy Pedro to make an intro. It ended up popping off, and I'm like, yo, let's just do this for all our videos too. And now we do them, and it works. And like, I mean, obviously, I have almost 500,000 subs, and maybe I'm not getting, 100, 200, 300K views per video, but over time, everything adds up anyway, and I'm content with where it is. And I know for a fact when there's a new gen, I'll be on the forefront of it because I'm still paving my way for that next one. Like, it's always about like, hey, how do you survive between generations? And it's a little bit different when, your content's focused on older generations. I know obviously you still do a lot of Generation 9 stuff as well, but like you said, you kind of felt bored of it at times. But as long as you have this, group of people that are watching you and you put up cool stuff, they'll keep watching. I got people who've been watching me since I got some subscribers who have been here since 2010. Like, and that I know them because back then I used to sub to everybody who subbed to me. I got somebody who's one of my first 50 subscribers still comes to my streams and chills, and I'm still sub to them too. So it's just wild, like how.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like everyone on YouTube starts, just making videos for fun, not thinking anything will come of it. Now I have a different approach where I'm thinking first and foremost of like the experience of the viewer, not necessarily my own enjoyment, because like my job is to deliver a good video for the average viewer. Something like an intro helps to make the experience better for the viewer by explaining what you're doing, like easing them into whatever Pokemon you want to showcase.
Yeah.
Not everyone is going to be as knowledgeable as you are about competitive Pokemon or understand the particular reason you're using this thing, and you might have like a way to make that a more interesting story. Like this Pokemon, like with the recent Probo Pass video I didn't just immediately launch into talking about the team and using it on the ladder or something. I set up like, what is the story of Probo Pass? It came out in Gen 4. It's never really been good compared to other Magnet Pull users. It has a weird design. It's always been outclassed by Magnezone, but now, because of the current Gen 9 meta, it has this weird niche where it is bulkier than Magnezone defensively, and it can body press King Gambit. And then someone built around that, and it did really well. So that's like...
And I can tell you when I saw that video, bro, put that team right on my builder and ask my boy Skarzig to make a thumbnail because I'm going to use it. It looks so cool. And I'm glad you put it out there, bro. I'm glad you put it out there.
It's all about telling a story, like, and thinking about the viewer, and making things comfortable for them.
And I think that's what shorts helps too. So like I've had people that actually watch me stream other things because they said, my first videos from you were your shorts, and now I'm getting into competitive Pokemon, or they revived my interest in competitive Pokemon. Because I think if you break things down and make it a little bit easier, at least in the beginning, it can definitely ease them into your content and help them in the long run, help you as well. I just want people to love competitive Pokemon the way I do, right? I enjoy playing this the same way I did same way I enjoyed watching it when I would wake up in the morning, Saturday mornings, and watch Pokemon on Kids WB at 10 a.m. I enjoy it all, and I still do. And that love has not, I don't know if it's borderline psychotic that I do something every day repeatedly, but I'm not tired of it. But I just freaking love it. I can't. And there's still things to this day that will like even like Pro Pass. Like when I saw that, I was like, my initial reaction was, yo, that's so cool. I have to use that in a video. That is so cool. Like that was my thing. I was like, wait, this Pro Pass video hit what? That's so like, it's just wild, like how, and I love how you ease people into it, and Freeze I also, and Kellen and everybody, Fossil Gaming and everything. It's just so awesome. And I think also having, we're not really talking about it right now, but like I think also having a group of people that you can bounce ideas off and talk about with things really also helps benefit everybody too.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like all the Pokemon YouTubers kind of draw from each other a little bit.
Yeah, legit.
What was I going to say? I forgot.
It's all good. I see a few questions here we're finally making it to.
Yeah, well, you kind of answered that one earlier. Someone asked about when you fully committed to content creation, but...
Oh, I mean, I didn't say part of it, though. Part of the reason was because I was working part-time in this fancy Italian restaurant, and I didn't like the way that the owner treated me one time. He started cursing at me, saying stuff. He would tell me one day, yo, bro, you're the best. He literally told me 10 minutes before, you're the best person here. And then I get a buzz on my phone. I pull it out. Nobody's in the restaurant. I already cleaned up. Comes out, curses me out, says, do this, this, and this. He wasn't paying me, by the way. I was only getting paid by tips. So basically, I was being paid by the people that were eating there, and I had to step in the restaurant and do things. So I walked out one night, left the broom there, and never went back. It just sucked because I had gotten my best friend a job there, and he had to take the flack for me. Or like they kept asking him where I was, but like it didn't matter too long. He forgave me, and he understood, and he's happy for what I do. And he also lives in the same building as me now, and we're moving to another building together, so we're still best friends. So we're long gone from there. But yeah, it was
It's an unfortunate experience.
but unfortunate experiences turn things into the better sometimes. Like worked out. That wasn't even full time. That was just me doing that as my part-time job. I made it full time, I guess, officially when I moved out in 2017, as it was how I was able to support myself 100% instead of living with my parents and paying. I did pay a lot of the bills in the place, but yeah.
Well, there you go. Quite a story. That was from CTE Huey asked that question about the full-time pivot. I wanted to ask you as well about the shorts stuff, because shorts, they're a very new thing, and I've experimented with them a little bit myself, kind of inspired by your little informative shorts. But have you noticed much of, like, you said that a lot of people do come from your shorts to your long-form videos. In my mind, I feel like they're different audiences. Like the people scrolling through shorts are not the same people that will sit and watch a long-form video essay about Pokemon. Do you think there's much crossover between shorts and your main channel?
You're absolutely right. That there's definitely a different audience, but I think that you got to think about it like this. Let's say a short gets 10 million views, and 1% of that ends up watching your other content. That's still a lot. That is a lot of people. So I do think there is a crossover. I definitely have comments saying, yo, I love your stuff. I love this Showdown stuff. I came from your shorts. And again, when I go streams and I stream like Ironmon or Pokerogue or whatever game I'm streaming, people will say, dude, I started watching you from your shorts and I just think this stuff is so cool. And you really reignited my thing for Pokemon. So while the majority of them, there probably isn't a crossover and some of them just like it for the shorts, I definitely do see it in the comments, in other things too, in ad revenue sometimes too, that like people are coming from it. Because obviously also YouTube will show you where people are coming from. So you can even look through analytics to see how people saw this video, what they might have come from, and things like that. What people are looking up as well, which is a cool thing. Have you ever used that, by the way, on YouTube?
See where people are coming from. That's useful info for sure.
Yeah, so a lot of people were looking up Vaporeon on my thing. I don't know why, and I'm not going to entertain why. But then I did Vaporeon the movie, and that movie did very well. So it's really cool to see like how things like interlap and all what YouTube gives you now to work with. I think if YouTube gives you something, you use it. Period. I think that's it. They give you the community post, use a community post. They give you stream on it. They give you shorts, try it out. Like there was just so much.
Yeah, I've experimented with different kinds of shorts. Like the informative ones have done the best actually, but they're kind of just their little thing that hasn't resulted in much else. And then I tried the little stream highlights, mixed results on that, but I'll keep trying the format. It's not really something I don't really watch a lot of shorts myself, so I don't have a sense for what people want with shorts.
Yeah,
I guess
I definitely want to keep mine all informative. But I do think that stream highlights and stuff could go on a separate channel, specifically dedicated around like Jimothy Cool Shorts type of thing, like or Jimothy Cool Clips, and then it'd be that, because then that grows that base for that specifically, whereas the informative ones are what's going to grow them for your actual stuff too. Because I don't know, I like that's just the way I see it right now. But because there's definitely a lot of highlights for Showdown Lives, but I feel like those also just do better on Twitter than shorts overall. Like I'll put in a funny moment on Twitter, get like a couple 100,000 views, and they're like, yeah, cool.
Perhaps I should do that too on Twitter.
Yeah, dude, people love that stuff. Something fun happens, please post it. People love it.
Agreed. Take a look at some more viewer questions. One from Blip Exists. What do either of you think makes an interesting team? That's a good question.
Well, teams that so I use a lot of my viewer teams. They leave them on my Smoke on profile, and I basically, if the team has a lower tier Pokemon and the team also did well with said lower tier Pokemon, that's like a 95% chance I'm gonna use it in a video at some point. Like I'll save it in my builder instantly. Like again, the Probopass example, super lower tier, super niche, puts in the work. I think cool Pokemon make an interesting team. Unique Pokemon, I think, make an interesting team too. But I'm also a fan of like just broken stuff as well. In the beginning of metas, right? I think it also depends on when a meta is, right? If it's the beginning of meta and you give me a team with the most broken Pokemon of all time, I think that's a really cool team. I think it's interesting. I think it's cool. I think it's, yo, that's fire. Magearna, Pheromosa, Melmetal. Oh yeah, this team you would not want to run into type of thing. And I think that's like, I love the power behind a team, but also, like I said, I think that interesting Pokemon, that cool, unique Pokemon, that cool, unique thing that makes it like, oh, this isn't standard. That's what makes it cool. One of my favorite examples is Galarian Slowbro in National Dex can Mega Evolve into Mega Slowbro. And when I found that out, oh, the amount of Landorus Theory and I flipped the matchup on was so cool.
That's crazy.
Because, yeah. Or like Ice Cube is literally invincible in National Dex because it can use both Hail and Ice Escape. So you can just use them back to back, back to back, back to back. And one of them is doing damage, other one, yeah. Those stuff are so cool to me. Unique strategies or just things that take advantage of Pokemon Showdown, I think are really fun.
Yeah, it's always cool when something niche gets you. I think for me, the most interesting teams are like taking advantage of some optimized situation in a metagame. Like there's some really cool Gen 3 teams that kind of break the fundamental rules of the tier. In Gen 3, there are these rules, you know. You have to have a rock resist to check Tyranitar. You need like some answer for special threats like Zapdos, Starmie. And there are these rules, but some like really, really good players can break the rules and build teams around specific interactions. And instead of being a team that's like you have one check for each thing and you're covering a bunch of stuff, it's like the team has one game plan and it's like more like a chain reaction of events.
Yeah.
There's this player called Ban Manaphy who built this really awesome team in that he used in Kalos Invitational with like Metacham that Baton passes to a mag, and it doesn't have like a rock resist, but it just has a game. It's just like it has this lead situation, and then it's like hard to explain how it works, but
no, I get it. Ben Manaphy was actually a teammate of mine too.
Yeah, awesome player. Sometimes you can I love teams that have a game plan or a line against like everything possible that is so optimized and just display such an understanding of the metagame that you can actually break the rules because you have in such control, you have such a deep knowledge of every possible line where against this I'll do this, against this I'll do this. That's, I think, the most interesting team.
Just to expand on that, by the way, I think the consistency from those teams comes from it being maybe a best of 1, best of 3 in a tournament versus ladder, right? Like some of the best tournament teams aren't going to work well on the ladder because you're fighting so much different. There's so much variety on that ladder, but like things like that are so good for, I would constantly use like, I was playing in, I think the final week of SCL, and I was playing NU. It was either SCL or SPL. I think it was SCL, and I was playing NU. And I remember my not my team, but teams were depending on me winning for them to make it to playoffs. And I loaded up the NU game and I had 4 PUs on my team. And the chat was like, oh, our season is being dependent on these 4 PUs on this NU team. And I ended up winning that game. But I just think it's so, but that's not a team that would win like games on the ladder consistent, maybe 1, 2, 3, but like specifically for those things, those are not things that win. So it's really interesting like how those interactions work. And I love stuff like that. Like, hey, for this unique opponent, for this player, for these tendencies, I'll try this. But obviously you have to adapt and try different things on the ladder as well. So I think it's always so cool when I see tournament teams do well, and I also see ladder teams do well and how they kind of interact and stuff.
Yeah, it's like a team built for one specific purpose. And sometimes it only works once. Like the bait only works the first time you see it.
And it only has to. It only has to. It's like draft.
Just one game.
It's like draft. It only has to work once. That's why you can build some of the wildest things and shoot, it'll work. Why do you have Vivek here?
Oh, Vivek. Guy. Yes, I like this one. Vivek Mandal asked, I am Vivek, and my question is, what is your favorite priority move in Pokemon? Love from your biggest fan from India.
He always comes to my stream and spams, hey Joey, I'm your biggest fan from India.
He is?
My favorite priority move. Maybe he is. My favorite priority move. I love Bullet Punch. Oh my God, dude. When Scizor first got it, unbeatable. And recently I drafted a Scizor and I just really, it brought me back to like, wow, this one is so strong. Because I found myself using almost the same set every week, like bulky SD or just SD in general. I love it so much because like it's the type of mon that would like KO or 2 KO even resistances. Obviously Lucario had things like that with E-Speed back in the day and, you know, to a higher extent, Arceus. But I love that. I think my second favorite one, though, would be a Celerock. But that's only because I love Lycanroc Dusk and how strong it is with that. I want Tyranitar to get a Celerock. I really do. Also, I want Tyranitar to get Baton Pass in ADV. Thoughts?
That'd be busted.
Yeah.
Did he pass Tar?
Imagine trapping Dugtrio with Porygon because you click Baton Pass.
Oh, yeah. That'd
be fun. You're also crazy if you go hard Dugtrio unless you're running HP investment and you know that they're not like choiced and clicking move. But Yeah, a lot of fun interactions. One of my favorite things is when old gens get things that get released later, like just either hidden abilities or whatever, like just stuff like that. So I love that. I also love like when XD Gale Darkness gave us a whole lot of different moves, like when they gave Zapdos Baton Pass, for instance. I think Metal Sound as well too. A lot of things like that. I want that game back so we can get a lot of cool things again, or a new game from it. But yeah, definitely a Celerock and Bullet Punch. What about you?
I think it's kind of a boring answer. It might be Mach Punch. I think it's the most fun. Like, I just like many of the Pokemon that use it. Like Breloom in Gen 3 is one of the only things that gets a good Prio move. And it hits Tar, so it's like an alternate way to handle Dragon Dance Tar. Is if you chip them into
really
Mach
cool.
Punch range, you can snipe them. And Infernape in Gen 4 OU with Choice Band, I really like using Mach Punch on him.
Yeah. Oh, it was my favorite Lucario answer because of the way priority worked back then.
Yeah, E-Speed is not plus 2.
Yeah.
It's plus 1, so you can actually check Lucario with that. Yeah, adds a bit of consistency. And obviously Tar's everywhere, so it's always useful. And even like all the Scarfers in Gen 4, it's always just useful to have some sort of prio.
Oh, I one of my ways of playing in draft is always have good priority because it's the no BS. That's what I like about priority. It's no BS. Doesn't matter what my opponent brings. I got this strong priority here, and I'm gonna deal with it. That's one of my mantras when it comes to draft. Like to have. I don't care how bad my team is. As long as I have that, I'll be good.
It does improve consistency, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think consistency is very, very important. Like, especially, I mean, you want to join a draft to do well. You want to be entertaining, and you also want it to do well.
So one of your most prominent collaborators is Blunder, who has come up a few times in this chat. But how did you two actually meet initially?
Pokemon Online. I actually was
Literally.
Blunder's 300 subscriber special, and I beat him with like NUs when he brought hardcore OUs. It was one of the funniest battles, but Blunder was a kid. We were all kids, but he was like 3 years younger than us, 4 years younger than us. So him, CTC, kind of all made like a Skype group, and we all just started playing Pokemon together, come out after school, play Pokemon. He talked so much crap back then. Still does today, obviously with a deeper voice, but he talked a lot with his little high-pitched Mickey Mouse voice back then. It was really funny. But yeah, one of my longtime friends, we do a lot of obviously stuff together, like Megas the High Ladder and a lot of series, constantly on each other's channels as well. Yeah, it's just wild what Pokemon brings together, and Pokemon Online specifically was the reason that I was able to do that, because I was also invited to a clan by CTC IDM, and that's where, you know, I have a lot of my friends to this day that all came from there, and from PO just in general. So yeah, he was cheating back in the day though. He was definitely ladder boosting when he was like 1800 on the ladder at number 1 in OU, and number 2 was like 1500.
He was on the second.
He denies it. Yeah, he denies it though, but he definitely was. He definitely.
That's up for debate.
Yeah, but if you ask me, he was cheating.
You guys are a great duo. Very entertaining
a lot of
videos
fun
together.
He definitely. So I would say when I make videos, depending on how I'm feeling, how tired I am, I could say a little more serious for me. So when I'm with him, we have a lot of fun together, and it's just me hanging out with my friend. So we'll play off each other. We also like talk the most crap to each other because we both can take it. So it's really funny. But like for Megas specifically, we love like doing stuff. It's also like we both forget things all the time. Like, you know, we playing so much competitive Pokemon. I got so much knowledge of different generations that sometimes I'll mix them up. But Blunder, like specifically, Ubers, he's always asking, wait, Primal Groudon is immune to water moves, things like that. Like he always forgets those little interactions. He always forgets dark types are immune to prankster moves and stuff like that. So it's just really fun to play with him because it's like, dude, a little knucklehead. But yeah, he's great. His personality is great, and like obviously his content is fantastic. Some of my favorite content is definitely with him.
I think he was playing one of those like other metagames, like Godly Gift or one of those, and he literally didn't even understand the entire premise of the metagame.
Godly Gift is literally my favorite OM.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
But I thought that was funny. I watched the Blunder video, and he's in the video. He's trying to figure out what the format even is.
Yeah, we'll definitely play without reading. That was actually why we stopped doing a lot of OMs back in the day, because people got mad at us. But that kind of like mellowed out after the years.
I mean, like a lot of people do that. You figure things out through just trying it out.
Yeah, that's it. I don't want to read, and also when I read, that doesn't mean I understand.
Yeah, I suck at learning through just reading a text explanation. I got to learn through, you know, actually applying the knowledge.
Legit. But same thing, like even when I make like a guide on a Pokemon in the beginning of a generation, and then like a week later I'll have a firm understanding of it. That's why I try now to make my guides, when I do them, after I've used the Pokemon in battle for a bit, kind of understand. But also like Showdown will have things not properly implemented because, which is fine, understandably, because it's just the beginning of a generation, so we don't know everything yet.
Yeah. So your most popular video of all time is actually not a gameplay video, but an analysis video of
the worst pseudo legendary. Yep.
Yeah, it's about Gudra.
Yeah. We might as well say it by name. It's about Gudra. Sorry, Gudra
spoilers.
No spoilers there.
It's an example of a well-packaged video, like a title that is simple but also draws your attention. Like, oh, what is the worst one? And then the thumbnail is like each of the pseudo legendaries little sign. It makes a lot of sense that video did well, but like it's different to your usual upload style. Like it's pretty unique. So, are you gonna return to that video style in the future, like the analysis?
So I enjoy making them. I actually make them with VGC, so they're very fun to make.
Yeah.
I think the thing for me, and I actually have like my third most popular video is literally how Mega Rayquaza changed Pokemon Forever. I have a lot of stuff up there. But I know those videos do well. I know they get the best views and stuff. Yeah, I know they do the best. It's just sometimes I just hate recording the scripts. I'm not a script writer, bro. My shorts are all off the like rip. Like literally, I don't script write for any of them. Like I have a general idea of what I want to talk about, and obviously if it's a little bit more information, I'll double check to make sure I'm right. But like it's like I'll make a thing right now. Give me a random Pokemon. I'll show you. I'll give you an example.
We'll do an analysis of Whiscash.
Whiscash got some huge buffs in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. It now has access to both Stealth Rock and Spike. This has opened up defensive Whiscash immensely. And I'll go like that. Like right, just go off the dome.
That's crazy.
I'll obviously do my recording voice for it too. But I'll do this in Audacity. And then I'll cut out the little parts, like the little in-betweens, so because I pause in between, so I'll cut out those in-between. Because for a short, you have to really compress it. So that's what I'll do. And then I'll be like, but of course, Whiscash can still do things with Dragon Dance as Terrestrialization has opened up its offensive, like whatever. So that's like for the most part I'll do that. So a short will take me 2-3 minutes to do because I don't write this. I feel like if I write the script for it, it's going to be less natural. And it's a little bit harder for me to sit down here. I've been doing so much improv for years that it's so much harder for me to sit down and do scripts. And I know it's different for you. I was actually impressed that you did the script so well for this video. I thought that you were gonna do that like prior or like post even to the thing.
Like
and
my
you just
intro
actually started this. Yeah, you actually started, and it sounded so good. And I even noticed that you obviously took out some words that you wrote here, but you kept it great and you kept it flowing. And like for me, that 5-minute video might have taken me like 45 minutes to do perfectly because I'm trying to keep in mind my speed of how I talk because I naturally talk very fast. And for an informative video, if it's not a short where everybody has the attention span of whatever, snapping your fingers or whatever, it's a little bit harder. So I'm trying to always do that, and I don't think I have it quite right. So I actually have a lot of scripts still made. I actually have the best pseudo legendary made. I've had it made for a long time, and it's a way longer video. And I have to update it again because Baxcalibur got banned, and I didn't want to put Baxcalibur very high because it's a new generation. But I think it does deserve to go a little bit higher because it got the buffs of Scale Shot and stuff when Scale Shot came out. So to answer that, like I definitely will do these. They're very fun. They're good. But they're also edited not by my main editor Pedro, but my boy Xenon, which obviously costs extra money. And then when Kevin and I work together, I do pay him for that too because I don't like people doing things for me without getting paid. I think if you're good at something, you deserve to be paid. So depends. It really depends. I like them though, and they were a great way to get my channel to 300K. Like they're the reason I hit 300K. And then I'll say shorts were the reason I probably hit 400K. Between that plus like draft coming back and stuff like that too. So to answer the question, yes, I will definitely be doing them again. I'm always down for a list of topics as well. My friend Raltzboy actually just randomly DMs me sometimes and gives me so many topics and stuff to go on. I just have to like sit down and think, okay, what's gonna do well and what won't. But also and the reason I think about it like that's like the only content I think, okay, what will do well, because I'm putting so much money into it, in a sense, right? I don't care if I break even. I just want, I would like to get close, right? And if a lot of people like the video, that's amazing to me. But yeah, that's basically a big thing for me. I do think long form content is on the rise as it has been for a bit, again, in terms of like YouTube and Like look at Mr. Beast and what he's uploading now as well. His storytelling is slightly different now, and he is making longer videos and stuff like that too. Like it's not specifically only 8 minutes, not 10 minutes. Like he uploaded a 40-minute video that did super well. 135 million views. I mean, it's Mr. Beast, right? So like you expect everything to do well, but like it did better than his 10-minute video that came after, better than his, or just as better than his 19-minute video before, about the same as his 20-minute video. So like I love experimenting with that. And actually, speaking of experimenting with that, when Scarlet and Violet was coming out, I started making videos on like the leaks, but not necessarily the leaks, but like the ice type buffs, like not the Pokemon leaks, but like the competitive leaks. And I would experiment with a 5-minute video. It got like 200K views. And I was like, okay, let me try 10 minutes. 10 minute got 200K views. Let me try 30. It got 200K views. I was like, oh damn, okay. So I was like experimenting, seeing what I could get away with in terms of just talking and stuff like that, and how it would do. And all I simply did to make those videos do well was actually an intro, which should have been a hint rather, to me being able to do that for my Showdown lives back then as well. But yeah, it's just yeah, I will be doing them again is the short answer. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Interesting. Like, I would have assumed those shorts were scripted. They seem scripted, but I mean, people like us who have played this game for over a decade, you can very easily just talk off the cuff about some Pokemon because we just have such knowledge, and yeah, we played the game for so long. That's what I do for some of my videos. Not all of my videos are scripted and edited. Some of them are just me talking about something like a team, or I did a video recently. I've just gone through every bug type that's relevant, for every generation, and I just talked off the cuff. I didn't script anything. True,
that might be it. And I mean, I'd be doing that too. Like I said, it's just it's all my videos, right? But I'm talking about like if I have a discussion video, I might do that as well. And I might have to do some discussion videos because we do not have Showdown right now. Hopefully it comes back.
Oh yeah, I noticed that this morning.
Let me see.
For those potentially confused, Showdown is down today as we're recording. It's probably going to be back up whenever this is uploaded. But
yep,
that's
5/14, the 14-year anniversary of my channel. Technically, not.
Oh, cool.
It's not really. So I made the channel like at night. It was like 11:55 when I made the account, but by the time I finished, it was the 15th. So I guess they counted it as the 14th though. For me, it's the 15th.
Some PokeAim lore for the viewers. Yeah, like when I was first making Pokemon videos, I was doing gameplay videos similar to yours. I was not doing edited analysis. But as I started doing them, it is a bit annoying to make those videos in terms of like it takes time consuming, it takes energy, and editing is a bit monotonous with like little busy work of fixing the audio, putting visual representations of what you're talking about at every moment. But as I've done it more, I've gotten really used to it and just repetition and building a muscle. And now I kind of enjoy it. It's like my bread and butter. It's, what I'm used to. And
Literally.
I've written an absurd amount of Pokemon scripts, like thousands and thousands and thousands of words of just talking about Pokemon. It's kind of ridiculous at this point, but it's just every day if you do it, you get better at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing for uploading, right? When I was uploading daily for the first time, it was so hard. I don't know why. I mean, it was just so hard because I wasn't used to it. But now it's like, shoot, as long as I know what I'm recording with, we're good. We're good.
Yeah. So that's what I would say is if you want to try a new video style, it's always going to take a bit more energy when you're trying something new because it's not like something you've built a habit or muscle of, but you can just build the muscle over time as well.
You're absolutely right. As long as I keep doing it as well, like I will get better at it. And that's a big thing for having to do these videos for sure. I'll keep that in mind. I do enjoy it a lot.
And I think it's rewarding when you put time into something and people see it and respond well to it. Like it's very rewarding.
No, I 100% agree. Even like for everybody, like BKC, Xenon, Skarzig, the guy who draws my thumbnails, Goat, all felt great about that video doing well too, not just me. It was rewarding for the whole team.
Yeah, it's a team effort. So that's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Got a question from Burn Baby. Do you have any stories or advice about the ups and downs of content creation?
Maybe not anything specifically, but there are definitely, like when I was a younger YouTuber, there were times where I knew I was a solid player, but I wasn't getting the views for it. And like when I think about it now, I was like, okay, but I really wasn't putting in the work to try and get the views. Like Jimothy said, this is YouTube's a whole different ball game right now. Like back then, you could do whatever you want, throw darts at a wall, and your video would do well. But there's so much you could have still actually done. Having good thumbnails still would have mattered. And I feel like if you're consistent with something and you're actively trying to make it better and not saying, oh man, this video is perfect, this should have done well, more so approaching it from the angle, what could I have done better? Why didn't this work? How can I change the thumbnail? How can I change the title? Like, it definitely is a better way to do it and it'll help. But there were for sure times where I was uploading and I was like, oh man, my views were not doing well years ago. And it made me sad, but like I remedied that with making videos with my friends and it felt all the more better, you know? Like, I don't really care as much about that as long as I'm able to provide for my family and I'm enjoying what I do. Like, it comes down to that at the end of the day. But there's definitely there's ups and downs with content creation in general. I don't have any specific stories, but my advice is just like I said, look into what you could have done differently and use that for the next time. That's like the biggest thing. Like, why didn't a video perform well? How did I present this? The analytics tells you so much, man. If you got like 85% watching the first 30 seconds, but then at 1 minute, 50% drop off, what the hell did you show at 1 minute that made this video like go down? And don't do that in the next one, type of thing. So definitely, I think listening to viewers as well for some things is important. Sometimes people don't know, but also having a good group of people that you can bounce ideas off of helps a lot too. I'm in a group with Blunder and False Swipe Gaming, and it's just us three. We call it Team Analytic, and Starmie's our profile picture because that's my goat. But it's just where we literally discuss titles, what could be better for this. We even go as far as showing like how much we made in a month because we trust each other and that sort of thing. How a video did, what the RPM and CPM was, just to like show what we did differently. Like there was, I'll give an example. There was, I have to start again, but there was a month where my CPM was insane comparably to theirs in every single video. And I told them the only thing I'm doing is every single time I make a video, I'm connecting all my shorts to that video, every single one. So all 100 plus. And I was doing that for every single video, every single day. And I still will be doing that. I still do that. Well, I've been on and off because of the subathon. I haven't like built up the habit again, but it will be. And that's just something I noticed. Like, definitely having a group of people you could talk with that will also tell you straight up how it is as well. I think like, yo, I don't like this thumbnail, bro. Doesn't help me. I don't like the video. Doesn't work for me. I think that's very important.
You could get me in there. I could provide some insight.
If you want, you talk to them. I really don't mind personally.
It's always good to bounce ideas off of the creators for sure.
Yeah, I think that's literally the best. I did the same thing with Freeze Eye for a while. Obviously, yeah. Wolfie as well. We always did things like that. That's just what's going to help benefit your channel, I feel like, in the long run. And sometimes you also just got to be willing to adapt as well. I haven't changed my content much, but I have better thumbnails and I have intros to usual content. It helped to do better.
I think you've done a good job adapting from like the very old school style to modern day. It's rare for channels to survive through all that, and I think you've done a rare thing with that. Yeah. And it's good advice to like always reflect on what you could be doing better and ask yourself like why you're doing it in the first place. Is it a hobby or do you want to turn it into something more? And if you want to turn it into something more, it requires a bit of work, like, and strategy.
I agree. It's not always just going to come easy, you know?
Like, you know, not many people realize I've been making videos for over 10 years as well, but like no one watched them. Like it was just for fun or be creative, do whatever. But like, yeah, I felt that too. Like, why is no one watching these? I'm putting effort into this, and no one cares. But you do have to like actually analyze what you're doing and try to find the source of the problem. Be willing to accept that like this video sucked. It didn't do well. Why? You know, apply that to the next one. Once I actually started doing that more and asking myself, what do people want to watch right now? You know, Gen 9's new. People want to learn about these new Pokemon. I have the ability to explain these things to them. And that's something people want right now.
Yep.
So I'll try
Timing
to do
is
that.
important.
And then my early videos weren't the best, those analytical videos, but like each one I kind of learned from what people were saying. Like people said I talk too slow. Okay, I'll try to speed up that by talking. And like I'm wrong about little tidbits, and like, okay, now I realize that I have to be more specific about what I'm saying and be accurate.
Sure, don't be afraid to remake something too that either did well but wasn't as accurate. Like take False Swipe. He made a Charizard video that did amazing, but it had some inaccurate stuff. So he made a new one and it did just as great. And now it was up to date. Don't be afraid to fail is what I'm saying, and try things. That's why I'm also like the guy that will try things out. And if they don't do well, I'll try it one more time. If it doesn't do well, back to the drawing board, or I'll figure out something else.
Yeah, be open to adapting, changing things, and looking at your work like with a analytical lens and trying to figure out the source of the problem. That's good advice for sure. And the Professor Prickler the Professor Piccola asks, Joey, what is your personal least favorite Pokemon? Could be for any reason, so not necessarily competitive. You don't like the thing.
Solrock.
What?
I used it once as a Primal Groudon counter. It was sold to me as a Primal Groudon counter. I brought it out on Primal Groudon and got 2 KO'd. And since then, I hated it because it was so hyped up. It was hyped up.
When was
so
that? Gen
much
6 or 7 Ubers? Gen 6?
Yeah. When the Oras, when Oras was there, so it was Gen 6. Yeah.
I imagine that just getting toasted by Eruption, even with Resist, you just...
Yep. 2 KO'd very easily. Very, very easily. Max Bidef, couldn't do anything back.
That's a classic. Like, Darkspawn counters Chi-Yu guys, it just gets 2 hit by Psychic. Little neutral Psychic. Or like, I use like Salamence. Bulky Salamence as a Primal Groudon check in Gen 7. It gets destroyed by Eruption. Also, sometimes they would run HP Ice to hit Mega Salamence. So, that's funny. But Solrock's epic, though. You know, it's Linear Curve used it in Gen 3 a bit.
I've used it too. That's like my least favorite, like as in from just that example, and also what it did.
So disappointed by that one thing, yeah.
I mean, also what it was in Sword and Shield with that one guy when you were playing the Dynamax raids, and he would just continuously cosmic power instead of rock sliding. Like, bro, help me out. Like, help me the hell out. But yeah, I don't know. It's just my least favorite.
That's kind of funny. I love Solrock personally. I think it's an awesome design, good name, interesting traits, but. I guess if you got this one bad memory, that can sour your view of a Pokemon, can't it?
I love Rock Psychic, though. Luckily, they made Iron Boulder.
True. And the fans know my least favorite Pokemon is, of course, Iron Jugulus. That is well known.
That's a great mon, though, to love, though. Iron Mugulus. I love that you made a mug and everything, too. That's good branding, bro. That's good branding.
Yeah, I didn't mean it to be, but it turned out well. Yeah, I was just making a stupid joke.
Sometimes
I was like, oh yeah, you can do a mug of that. It is literally a mug, huh?
Sometimes people create your stuff for you, and you just gotta roll with it. That's one of the ways of being a good content creator. The audience has something, and it aligns with you and doesn't, go against what you believe. Shoot, go with it.
Absolutely. So I wanted to talk a bit about the Pokemon Showdown Star Tournament that we both played in recently, which was quite a thing. There was a format with multiple creators, and some of them VGC, some of them singles, and we played VGC and singles and random battles in a best of 3. I got destroyed in I didn't win a single VGC game. I got so owned. And then in random battles, I also got unfortunate. I got some unfortunate teams, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
but
that happens in random bats for sure.
Did you go undefeated in VGC? I think you
did.
What the hell's up with that?
Versus VGC players.
But the team that you brought was quite something. The Muck Monday.
That was I only used that team game 1. Blunder used that team the entire time, but I only used that team game 1. So basically I've been doing a subathon, and I was talking about I was doing a Showdown Star tournament, and I was like, guys, I'll be real, I don't think I'm gonna win. I've been doing this, I haven't really been trying. And also when the VGC creators suggested VGC be best of 1, closed team sheet instead of open team sheet, I'm like, yeah, okay, I definitely lost now. Like, not even letting me see what they have so I can have a chance of winning. And so I was like, all right, I'm not gonna try hard. One of my viewers gave me a team for regulation E, G, whatever one that is after F currently. I think it's G, which wouldn't be legal, but had muck and everything. I was like, you know what? Shoot, I'm just gonna meme this entire tournament. So I took it. I got rid of their Calyrex Shadow Rider, and I put Scarf or Shifu, as I feel like anyone would do in any competitive Pokemon. If you have an Urshifu legal, put Scarf. And I played. I used the Minimize Muck plus Smeargle to beat James round 1. He kind of forgot that both Heavy Slam and Heat Crash ignore Minimize and do it. He only remember Heavy Slam. He forgot about Heat Crash doing it. I was a little bit too late for him. Then in round 2, I played Freeze-Eye with a team that I got from Moxie Boosted right before the game versus Freeze-Eye. And Moxie Boosted basically told me, as long as you beat their special attackers early, like before the game, before I even see anything, as long as you beat special attackers early, they can't beat AV Tinglu in the back. And I kept that in mind, played the game. And then game 3, I played actually Moxie Boosted himself, and I asked my friend Nails. I have a pretty big, network of people that can give me teams, and Nails is a really good player. I asked Nails, like, yo, I need to beat Moxie. What's a team that I can be very, very stupid, but still win? And he gave me some Chi-Yu Sun, and he told me how to play. He said, hit hard with Chi-Yu, get up Sun. I said, thank you. And I ended up beating Moxie as well, who kind of admittedly threw by just going for multiple combines instead of attacking me. But I did notice that VGC players like to do that a lot with Raging Bolt. Instead of attacking, they'll go for multiple combines so they're uncullable. But like at the same time, you're giving me options. So I ended up going accidentally undefeated in that VGC. And then I went on to win the whole thing, which was pretty cool. I was evicted to the same strategy against your partner in crime, Blunder. Yeah.
Yeah, that was quite a moment. I played against that team. I would literally didn't see any of it coming, and I got extremely owned. The muck. I've never seen power of alchemy in my life. I gasped, and then the muck was just getting moody boosts, and apparently I could have timer stalled people. Sam, I didn't know how that works. I don't know what's going on with that.
Oh, there you are. They were saying something like that. I wouldn't. Nobody wants to do that in a.
Yeah, I was like, wait, I could
expedition
timer stall. What do you
anyway.
mean? I could timer stall.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna forfeit with honor. I got defeated. That's okay. Apparently, I could have like parting shotted through the sub, but at that point, it's too late, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was too
I don't know
late.
if the evasion boosts actually have to actually have like stop that or not. Like there's so many nuances with VGC I don't know. But VGC is like, again, I like it in a vacuum, but I love singles. I'll get like a random, like I'll watch Worlds and I'll get like a random itch to play VGC, and then I'll go to like a tournament that's next week and I'll start prepping and I'll do all right at it. Like I did that for several regionals. I think I did like one regional in Hartford, and I think I got like 20th out of like 400 something. So that's my first VGC event of that year. And after that, I wanted to do more, but I think I proposed or something. Or maybe I had something go out or I moved or something. So I couldn't. Basically, life usually gets in the way. And also, I just stopped kind of caring about it. I do really want to play because I think it's really cool. And one day I would love to win something, but I don't think I have the time right now, but more so the drive to do it for VGC specifically.
Yeah, I dabbled in VGC a bit too. It's a bit time consuming to keep up with the new formats and actually travel to the tournaments. I like Showdown is a little bit more instantly playable and just queue up with
a
no
little
friction.
bit.
Yeah, much more. It's way more accessible, obviously.
There's a reason why VGC is also a top 3 played thing on Showdown. Shoot, that's why Showdown's still alive. They know their players are playing it.
And I'm just used to singles too.
For sure. I'm like singles, like for me, is just like, I know I can close my eyes and play. I could tell somebody how to play and I'll close my eyes and do it. VGC, obviously, there's a learning curve as well, but I feel like it's like, at the end of the day, it's all Pokemon. As long as you know what Pokemon can do, that's what helps. And I was really decent at best of 3. Like when I prepped for that regional, I was losing a lot on the ladder, but when I went there, I would lose like my game 1 and win game 2 and 3 because it was all about absorbing the knowledge. And obviously, Open Team Sheet changes that so much. Like now, it's so much easier. But I'm sure I'd enjoy it if I play. It's great to see people like Tang and everything, like just doing well for first times and going crazy. So like, I like it a lot, but I just haven't had time. And yeah, we'll see. Maybe in the future, who knows? It's one of my dreams.
It's cool to see like Frieza doing well in VGC too.
Oh yeah, he's a great player. He can play. Yeah, he's really good. I love Frieza. Just hit rank 1 in Rambats too.
That's a tough one. That's tough to do.
Yeah, very.
So you had a subathon recently, which seemed to do very well. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Subathon is like a continuous streaming marathon where every time someone subs or on YouTube joins the channel as a member, it extends the stream length so it can go for ages. And one of the subscriber or member goals was for you to shave your head. And there's a picture on Twitter. It's a good picture. You look like Walter White. There were a lot of memes coming from that. How does it feel? Have you ever done that before?
Never. I will say right now, I look more like I have a buzz cut because my hair grows really quickly. Like my hair, I don't know if you know, like the way the hairstyles are, so like, a 1 or like a 0, like the lengths of those. But my hair is like more than a 1 all across it now. So I look like I have a buzz cut. I literally look like how I looked in high school right now. I was only bald for like, I would say 1 day. By the like 2 days after I was already had, everything back for the most part, the lines back and everything, right? Like you could visibly see hair. So now it's been roughly 14 days after, and I have a pretty good one, I would say. But yeah.
I've never shaved my head either.
Dude, it was cold.
It's cold. Yeah, it's just bare there. Of course.
It was absolutely cold, dude. But yeah, the Subathon was really cool. I did it a little bit differently though than other people because typically you keep going all day and night, and yeah. So basically, we got it from what was it? So like typically you do it all day and night, but mine's a little bit different because I still did my daily uploads with the Subathon, and I didn't want it to just be streamed content that I cut down. I wanted to still make my own content and stuff. So I would end up pausing the timer, going to sleep, waking up, doing my video, coming back with the timer. And yeah, we made it all 30 days, which was crazy. Started like I think 495 subscribers, 494, and then made it to like over 11,000 by day 30, which was insane.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, if I was like, yo, if we make it day 30, I'll cut my head.
And many
I'll
a
cut my
word
head.
you did.
Cut my hair. I did. I did.
Cut my head. Yeah.
Cut my head is crazy.
Maybe I'll have to do a head shaving goal myself.
Shoot,
I don't know. That's a frightening concept.
It is, but I mean, fun time. And I actually enjoyed it. I didn't think I could stream more than what's it called? Like 2 hours. 'Cause I usually don't stream an hour and a half, 2 hours at the max. But like it ended up being something I was able to do. Some days I streamed like 11 hours straight. It was crazy.
Wow. Yeah. I usually go for about 3 or 4 hours.
Which is a lot to me.
Yeah. I mean, towards the end I get quite tired, so I have to head out. 11 hours is interesting. Were you like conserving energy to stay active or something? I don't know. It was a long time.
Literally, yeah. No, I was exercising every morning and stuff though, keeping myself ready, and I had food. I actually paid my mom to cook for me and get stuff and just bring it to me, and I had like stacks on stacks of everything. So yeah.
So was your routine just like streaming videos and that's it for like that whole time? That must have been quite
yeah,
draining.
I mean, obviously time with the wife, time with the dogs as well, which was something, but that was basically it. Wake up, do my video, try and do my video ahead, send my intro stuff, get things done. Sometimes went live really late and I would go all the way to like 6 o'clock in the morning if I was really enjoying the day. Had different games lined up, had different goals. It was really good. Like it was obviously hard because I was tired, but it was good. Like I genuinely enjoyed that whole experience. I'd probably do it again. Maybe not this year, but I'd do it again.
Yeah, it's like challenging yourself in a way. It's a interesting format to experiment with.
It's good. I mean, if you want to try it out. It's fun.
Something to draw from. Stream content is weird because it's you want to make when you go live, you want to make it into some kind of event or give people a reason to tune in. So that Subathon's a pretty good way to do that.
It's like the same thing we were talking about with content, right? Give them a goal, give them something, and then people enjoy it more.
If you were made, this is a question from Angus Crowley in the comments. If you were made the dictator of the Gen 4 OU metagame and allowed one tiering decision, who's getting banned or unbanned and why?
Oh, I'm unbanning Mew and DVP for sure.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I don't think it'd be universally broken. I think between Bantar, Lumtar, Lottie being the tier, the fact that the tier has so much harder hitters now. Mew is like a jack of all trades, Sandstorm chip wearing it down. I do think taunt versions would shut down fatter teams, which I think is fine. Like, I'm okay with the Nidoqueen, Clefable stuff not being as oppressive defensively as they were. That wasn't something when I first played DVP type of thing, but I'm definitely okay with them being taken down. But yeah, I would definitely unban Mew and try it. I would give it a suspect test and try it. I like that we unbanned Lottie. Shoot, I even think that, yeah, Lottie and Mence are both broken together, but maybe mixed Mence with Lottie isn't even as broken as it is now. But again, then again, it was like formulaic how you have to actually beat that mon. You know, you let your Scarftar take a Draco, and then you either pursue or miss Stone Edge, and then they're in range of Bullet Punch after the Stealth Rock plus Life Orb hit type of thing. There's just a lot, but I think Mew would be something I would test personally.
Was it ever tested in the past or used?
No,
so always just
not
banned?
on the version I played, but there was also the Wi-Fi meta from the like a Japanese forum or thread that played, and they had different things. Like they had Wobbuffet allowed, their Deoxys and Garchomp were allowed a little bit longer and stuff like that. That was back in DP. I don't remember if Mew was. I don't remember Mew much at all. But I would definitely try it. I would for sure try, at least just to see how it is. I don't think we lose anything from it. I think it's okay, especially if you're still messing with them and everybody's playing with them. I think it's okay to introduce something new and try it.
I would be down for that too, actually. In Gen 3, it Mew's too much, but Gen 4 actually seems like there's a decent amount to keep it in check. And it's Mew's one of my favorite Pokemon, actually. I love that it just gets everything, that it's so versatile. I think that's always so fun to build with.
Oh, for sure. I mean, my favorite, I think the Taunt set would go stupid in that generation. Taunt Wisp. Right, but like my favorite set would be 4 attacks offensive for sure in DVP. Earthquake, the Heatrans, and everything else. Fire moves, the Skarms, U-turn on the Lotties, like things like that. Be fun.
Absolutely, I support this.
Let's go.
I'll lobby for it. So I mentioned earlier on that back in the day you used to experiment with other games on your channel, like Zelda, the Telltale stuff. Outside of Pokemon, what are some of your favorite games, hobbies, or interests?
Super Mario 64 is probably my favorite game outside of Pokemon.
Classic.
I think it's a fantastic game. I really, really like Doug game. I enjoy playing party games as well with my friends and my wife, like Mario Party. A little bit less Mario Kart now than before, because I don't like Mario Kart Switch as much as I liked it on the Wii. Just a preference thing. Mario Super Slugger is something I play a lot. I play a lot of Nintendo games, for sure. But I love COD as well. I love playing with friends like COD Zombies. Anything that I can play with my friends specifically, I'll do that. But hobbies also, I used to play a lot of basketball, but I don't think I touched the basketball since 2012, maybe, which is a long time now that I think about it. But I do have an anime podcast where I talk about anime, so I like watching anime as well.
Oh, cool.
When I have time. And because of the podcast, the CMP podcast, I do it with my friends for a long time, Mo at Chimpack, and also our friend Mace. But Mo and Chimpack I've obviously known for 10 plus years. So we talk about anime, so that's something that kind of like keeps me in that hobby as well. I love cooking. I very much love cooking. I love chicken. Like, I love making perfect chicken breast. A lot of people complain that chicken is dry, and it's like, nah, you just make it wrong. You just make it wrong. It's like chicken breast is dry. Nah, you can make chicken breast so light, fluffy, moist, all that stuff. So I love cooking. I enjoy playing with my dogs, Puka and Evie. Evie is a mini poodle. Puka is a Bichon poodle. And Evie looks legitimate like Evie. Even has like the white on the head and everything like that.
How good is that?
It's amazing. It was my wife's idea to name her that. And then, yeah, I like playing blackjack a lot. I'm a big fan of blackjack. It's just fun. Not necessarily in a casino, but just like the game in general. I'm fun. I enjoy. And just any card games and board games I'm good with too. Going to the movies. I prefer movies at home now, just because the convenience is nice. But I love trying new foods too. I won't always get like a comfort food. If I go somewhere, I'll try something new just because I am not scared to try different cultures and try different things. But yeah, that's basically like the gist of it, like what I enjoy.
Any cool
like
foods
running.
you've tried recently? Unique foods?
Nothing too crazy, I would say. Just because the Subathon had me inside for a month. But I guess like, I don't know, I tried some like pizza with like honey plus like mozzarella and stuff, like a brunch or something. I had a few other weird stuff. No, honey and mozzarella is amazing. But like other things that I don't think I've actually tried anything too crazy these days. Like I said, like I gotta catch up. I love Jamaican food though. Like, that's not crazy. It's just good.
Never tried that. I should give that a go.
You like spicy?
Yeah, I do.
Nice. Yeah. You gotta try Jamaican food, but also like not all the stuff is spicy. But I love anything with a kick as well. My family and my wife doesn't too much, but well, it's part of my family does, but my mom doesn't. My wife doesn't either. But I don't mind it with a kick, and I don't mind it without. I've always had I just love food, right? That's just I love.
Speaking of chicken. There's this Chinese dish called like cola chicken wings that I made recently, where you cook the chicken wings in Coca-Cola, and it imbues it with this awesome sweetness. It was like so. I've never cooked something that tasted that good, to be honest. I cooked it with my partner. I would recommend if you're a chicken fan, check out our recipe for that. It was really delicious.
So I actually haven't drank soda, but I mean since 2008. Oh yeah. I gave it up when I started track. But I mean when you cook something with it, you're not necessarily drinking it, so. It's a different thing. And
yeah, I don't drink soda either, but the flavor it gives is nice.
Yeah, something else too. Because like, I mean, I made turkey and beer. Like it's not like I'm drinking beer when I'm eating the turkey. Yeah. I'm not getting. Yeah. So yeah, maybe I'll look into it. Please leave a link.
Sure. Yeah.
Whenever after. You don't have to do it right now. But that's so cool.
I didn't realize you had an anime podcast. What kind of anime have you watching recently?
Right now, because we're kind of low key. I make community posts, but I don't really like plug it in a video or anything. But right now we're watching The Time I Got Reincarnated Slime, season 3, I believe. Windbreaker, Kaiju number 8, which I'm very much enjoying. We're also talking about like My Hero, the new series, the new season of it. And we kind of just talk about like seasonal stuff, and then we'll mix it in with whatever we want to talk about, little trivia and things like that. It's not a big channel at all.
Yeah, that's fun though. I watched Free Run recently. Thought that was great.
Oh, it's really good. My friends raved about that.
I thought about making videos about that, but don't know where I would put it. I've got too many channels now. Jim at the Anime? Nah, that's too many channels.
Sure, if you want to be on the podcast one week, you definitely talk about them.
Sure, I'm down.
Oh yeah, talk to them.
What's like your favorite single player game you ever played, just from your childhood or whatever?
That's not like Pokemon or Super Mario 64.
Yeah,
Super Mario
I guess Super
64
Mario
for sure.
64 was the answer, wasn't it? But
But
apart from that,
like outside of that, Lost Magic for the DS. It was about like capturing monsters and using magic and runes to play. That was one of my favorite experiences. I also really liked Animal Crossing for the DS. That was my first DS game because it came with the DS. So those were some of my favorite ones to just play through. I also love Yoshi's Island is great. Yoshi's Island is amazing.
absolutely.
Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland was really good. It's like my comfort game if I had to play a comfort game. And then for the Game Boy, I really like this Bugs Bunny one where you have to run around and get the carrots, but not get like hit by
I think I played that on
the
the
other
Game Boy,
enemies.
original Game Boy.
Yeah. I still have it right there.
I had that game.
But
What the
it's-
heck? What a coincidence.
It's a great game. It was a good game. I got really high in the game. So that's one of the games I used to play a lot. But yeah, I guess my favorite that was Pokemon though was Pokemon Gold. Just a lot of good memories. I had a used version of Gold when I first got it, and like it was like hacked or something. Like Goldenrod City. Like I remember this, and I wish I knew how to do this. And it was like Goldenrod City was like open, and you could like surf all the sides and everything. But then I restarted the game and saved. So I never had that. I wish I still had that because I don't know what happened to it, but I just specifically remember
You,
that.
like glitched it, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
fun.
cool. Plus, I loved cloning my Pokemon in that game.
I miss like that handheld era. Like the Switch is not quite the same as the Game Boy and DS.
Yeah, I don't be playing my Switch at all in my hand unless I'm trading Pokemon. Like, I always have it like docked. I know it's like on the go, but it feels like such a more.
Yeah, you can't really carry it around like you could at a
Expensive.
DS or
Yeah,
Game Boy. It's
yeah.
not the same. And
Yep.
phones kind of ruined. I don't know. Maybe not ruined, but changed things.
No, definitely.
Having a DS or Game Boy in the era without phones was like that was your when you were on like a road trip or something. I don't know. Pull out the Game
literally.
Boy.
Oh, and when the SP came out and you actually had light. Oh my god!
Oh yeah,
it was
the
a game
SP was
changer.
great.
That was I don't have to have that little bulky light at night or hold a flashlight in my mouth when I'm playing a game.
True. I also loved DS download play. You ever use that? Like with Mario Kart
Yes.
DS, you could play with random kids.
DS download was the greatest thing ever.
That was so
The
good.
greatest thing ever. Everybody playing Mario Kart on the bus. Only one person had to own the game. The greatest thing ever. Like actually.
That was fantastic, yeah. Jumper Jumby asked, pineapple on pizza, boneless or traditional wings?
I think that in terms of pineapples on pizza, if you paid for it, eat whatever you want. I don't even like I don't eat it like regularly, but if someone gives it to me, I'll eat it. It's whatever. Who cares? For me, I'll eat anything, so it doesn't really matter. Boneless or traditional, depends on how lazy I'm feeling. Boneless are incredible when you don't want to work, but there's something about picking it off the wing that makes it feel good too, you know? So like I'll take soy garlic chicken. I like it both ways, both boneless and traditional, because I enjoy like the work I got to put in for the flavor. And I just want to take a bite of it, and I don't want to work. So I'm good with both. I'm good with both. There's no higher up than the other. I enjoy a good wing, and boneless is just nice when I'm tired. So maybe boneless later, wings earlier. If I had to answer,
Righto. I feel like I've grown pineapple on pizza has grown on me, which is maybe a bit.
it's just a sweetness added to the.
It's a bit
the
illegal
pizza,
of me to
the
say because I'm half Italian. I think Italians don't like
I'm
that.
half
but
I'm half Italian too, and shoot,
it's nice. It's a bit of sweetness. You need a bit of sweetness,
sweetness.
to balance the flavor, don't you?
cares? But as long as if you paying for it, I'm not gonna be mad at you. If I'm paying for it, I probably won't order it. But like if you paid for it and you give it to me,
Yeah, it's not
shoot,
my
I'll eat it.
favorite, but I'm all right with it. I'm neutral on
Yeah.
it.
I'm not a hater.
And a final question from Skylark: will there ever be a video in which Blunder does not sack the featured shitmon?
No,
Will it ever happen?
no. Blunder's too focused on winning the game and not showing off the mon. If I'm with him, I'll be like, no, do that double, do this so we can get the mon. He's like, no, I'm trying to win. So no, the answer is no.
That's a funny thing. That's spread to my videos. I have featured mons on my gaming channel. If people bring it up, like he did the blunder, he sacked the featured mon. And I actively try to use the Pokemon even if I'm throwing to do it. Like I've won the game anyway. I'll go to muck or whatever. Try to
Yes,
hit the sludge
sometimes
mob.
you just don't. Yeah, sometimes you just don't. You can't get the game. Like it's not your fault. It just didn't happen.
I never used to
And
play
sometimes
like
you-
that though. You know, I've always tried to win, so I don't mind sacking something to get something in. But
Oh, for sure. I always do that. I'm trying to win with the mon I'm using. Trying to make that mon look cool. That's some of my favorite stuff. When a mom puts in work, first game, it's like, yo, this month, you got to leave a like for that. That's like, that just naturally comes out of my mouth after that. It's like, yo, how can you not enjoy this? I get hype about it.
You have to leave a like for Muck Monday, folks. All right, well, thank you so much. We've talked for a while here. Great conversation. A lot to talk about.
Jesus. 15th now. Oh my God.
I was quite late for you there. Sorry.
Oh, dude, I'm about to stream. Like, don't even worry.
Are you about to stream? My gosh.
Yeah, I'm a night owl.
Well,
but no, this is great, dude. Thank you so much for having me. And I feel like we could talk about Gen 5 and Gen 4 a lot too, if we really kept going. But yeah, dude, this was a great time. I appreciate your time, bro. And thank you for having me.
You too. And if you ever want to collaborate, I'm always open to it. Just hit me up. It's a bit hard to coordinate with the time zones, of course, but you know, we can make it happen.
Wait, what time is it for you?
It's 2:34 p.m. I'm in Australia.
Oh my God, you're Aussie.
It's like very huge time zone difference.
It's all right. One of my best friends in Australia. Talking to her right now, so it's all good. Don't worry about it. We'll definitely do some stuff, bro. Like I said, I'm a night owl. I got no problem doing things at night. I play most of my games at night. I'd rather be exhausted at night than be tired in the morning.
Ain't that the truth, folks? Well, thank you so much, and see you later.